Chapter 173 Chapter 173 Chapter 173, Can a Mortal Beat a Chasm? Chapter 173 Chapter 173, Can a Mortal Beat a Chasm? _1. How lonely it is to be invincible. Wuxia walked on the streets with a proud expression. He had fought all the way from the small mountain village in the victorious East Continent. No leisure sect was his match. It was just that he heard that Yi Fan of the West Bull Continent seemed to be extraordinary. A single axe could split the entire West Bull Continent apart with a casual slash. He wondered if that was true. "Boss, give me 2 caddies of beef and 3 caddies of white wine." Wuxia found a small restaurant and sat down, his face filled with loneliness. No opponent. He still couldn't find his master. How boring. I wonder what strength master has. If one fight master, can I defeat master? Wuxia thought about it for a while and decided not to think about it. When he saw his master, he would fight with his master first. Wouldn't there be an outcome? If he was really beaten up by his master, then he would talk nicely. If he was beaten up, he would stand upright, apologize to his master, and earnestly learn from his master. If they beat him, Wuxia did not know how to address his master. "Your meat and your wine." After a short while, the waiter served all the beef and white wine that Wuxia had ordered. With a smile on his face, he asked, "Hey, where are you going?" The waiter was just being polite. Guests from the south and north went to many places. There weren't many people who could tell him the truth. "Shopkeeper, let me ask you, are there any cultivation sects in this area? The kind with a high reputation and great strength?" Wuxia asked. "Immortal cultivation sect? Are you going to take me as your master?" "The Great Sun sect's nearby. Great Sun sect was a good place." The waiter replied. "Does the Great Sun sect have any experts?" Wuxia asked again. "Yes, there is. Taoist Great Sun, Taoist Red Sun, and the few experts who came later are all top-notch experts." The waiter praised him generously. The existence of the Great Sun sect was extremely meaningful to the residents of Great Sun Town. Whether it was a flood, next year's drought, or bandits robbing houses, the Great Sun sect would take care of it. Under the jurisdiction of the Great Sun sect, the mortals could live and work in peace. These commoners had respect for the Great Sun Immortal from the bottom of their hearts. Which direction is the Great Sun sect? Wuxia did not care about this. He only wanted to challenge him now, so he immediately asked. "In that direction." The waiter pointed at a huge mountain. The mountain peak looked extremely bright red, as if there was a sun behind it. "Got it." Wuxia stood up, clapped his hands, wiped the beef off his mouth, and left. "Hey, objective, you haven't paid yet and you want to leave?" The waiter pulled him back. Paying for food was a matter of course. "Pay? Oh, one forgot." Wuxia smiled and touched his money pouch. However, with 2 popping sounds, the air in the purse exploded. It was empty. "No money? This is a small shop, we don't buy on credit." The waiter's face darkened. "Wait, I'll go get it now." A look of shame appeared on Wuxia's face. He was an invincible expert, and it would be a shame if he didn't have money. His first reaction was to run away. It was too embarrassing. He absolutely could not let anyone remember his face. From the moment he obtained cultivation and became an invincible cultivator, Wuxia had already established his life goal. Become the strongest human. However, if the future #1 expert of the human race was to be smeared with such a dark history. Wuxia was already imagining this scene in his mind. It was a day in the future when he was crowned king and stood at the highest point of the human race. Tens of thousands of people chased after him and shouted for him to live forever. However, a mortal suddenly ran out and stood in front of you, saying loudly, he didn't pay for his meal. Wuxia felt like he had lost all his face. He would run away now, and when he had money in the future he would make it up to the boss. Now of course we have to run. At the thought of this, Wuxia stomped his foot. He had already accumulated his strength and was ready to escape. In a flash, the sword passed through a street. Only then did the waiter react. Fai hurriedly shouted, "Dine and dash, catch him." The people of Daong town immediately reacted. An outsider was eating in dash here. And now he still wanted to escape. Therefore the person who bought the handmade noodles picked up the rolling pin, and the person who bought the hairpin directly held the hairpin in his hand. On the street, they directly chased and intercepted Wuxia. Wuxia was dumbfounded. There were actually so many people coming to capture him. Wasn't it because he didn't have the money to pay now? Run. Fu Tian was even more convinced of his own 36 stratagems, and that running was the best. With his immense cultivation, how could the ordinary residents of Daong Town catch up to him? In a flash, he had shaken off the people behind him and ran into the next alley. However, in this alley there was also a crowd chasing after them. Only the road ahead is still unobstructed. There is only one mortal who is taking care of his health. Run from here. With a simple scan of his spiritual will, he immediately determined the escape route. He had no choice. He didn't want to fly. If he could fly, he would have flown away long ago. Master, you're so cunning. Why didn't you teach me how to fly when you gave me peerless cultivation? Fu Tian complained with a sad face. Then he fled from the street Yi Fan came from. Cultivators? When Yi Fan saw Fu Tian, he was slightly stunned. The Fu Tian in front of him was not weak. But why was he running away in a panic? Could it be that he was being hunted down? Yi Fan, that's a dine and dash. Hurry up and stop him. Don't let him escape. The waiter and Yi Fan could be considered old acquaintances because some seasoning still needed to be bought from the restaurant. As time passed, the two of them became familiar with each other. The waiter saw that Yi Fan was an honest person and liked him very much. Every time he gave him more seasoning powder. What? Dine and dash? Yi Fan frowned. The Fujian in front of him was covered in brocade from top to bottom. The fabric of his clothes was extremely precious. One look and one could tell that he was not the kind of person who lacked money. Moreover, he was a cultivator. However, such a person actually didn't pay for his meal. You can't leave. Yi Fan casually stretched out his hand. Fujian, who had already run dozens of meters in front of him, suddenly felt the space around him change. Then he felt as if his neck was being grabbed. Mortal, you want to stop me? Fujian looked at Yi Fan and asked with a frown. He felt that something was wrong, but he could not tell. Chapter 174 Chapter 174, The Appearance of the Hot Shot, 1. Chapter 174, The Appearance of the Hot Shot, 1. You have to pay for your meals. If you don't have money, you can stay and wash the dishes. Yi Fan grabbed Fujian's collar and said indifferently. Humph, if you continue like this, I'm going to make a move. I'm telling you, I'm an immortal cultivator. If one punch you, you'll die. Fujian frowned and said in a heavy tone. In reality, he would attack ordinary people. However, when he thought about how he would defeat his enemies all the way in the future and become the strongest existence among the human race, standing on that glorious high platform and being worshipped by everyone. Then, some people were discussing quietly below. Wasn't that person? She even washed the dishes at my place. Thinking of this, Fujian broke out in cold sweat. He was an invincible man. He was a man who was determined to become the king of the human race. There must not be so many black spots. After thinking for a moment, Fujian immediately used the true essence in his body to drive his entire body forward. He did not believe that this mortal was lucky enough to grab his collar. Now he was going all out. Let's see if this mortal was stunned. As he thought about it, he bent his legs and started running. Don't even think about running away. Pay for the waiter's meal first. However, Yi Fan's calm voice sounded in his ear. Fu Tian realized that his legs were so fast that he could not see them clearly, leaving behind countless afterimages. The shoes under his feet had already created huge sparks on the ground. However, he did not seem to understand. He felt as if he was being controlled by an extremely powerful force, and it was impossible for him to escape. Good boy, you actually hid your strength. Then I'll make my move. How could Fujian not understand? Yi Fan was also a powerful cultivator, but he had hidden his cultivation. On the surface he looked like a mortal. Thinking of this, Fujian did not hold back. His huge fist was wrapped in spiritual power and smashed towards Yi Fan. Along the way, no immortal cultivator had been able to take his punch. Bang! Fu Tian's fist flew over. However, in the next moment, Fujian was stunned on the spot, and his face revealed a look of disbelief. He punched Yi Fan with his little finger, and even Yi Fan's face didn't have any emotional fluctuations, as if he was bullying an ant. You. Fujian was so scared that he couldn't speak. The man in front of him was too strong. He had used all his strength, but he was actually unable to shake the person in front of him at all. You have to pay for your meal. Come back with me now. I'll supervise you to wash the dishes. Yi Fan carried Fujian, his expression calm. Haha, Yi Fan, you're still strong. You're strong and strong. You caught this guy in one go. The waiter ran over, panting, his face filled with joy. Let's see where you can run now. The waiter looked at Fu Tian and said fiercely. I don't want to wash the dishes. Brother, look at the spices you bought. You must be cooking at home, right? Seasonings are extremely important when it comes to cooking. You can't be a minute earlier or a second later. If you go and supervise me washing the dishes now, it will definitely delay cooking. Let me go, and I promise that I will pay you back in the future. Fu Tian had an idea. He stared at the seasoning bottle in Yi Fan's hand and said immediately, This? Yi Fan was slightly stunned. His master, his junior brothers, and his junior sisters wanted to roast tiger meat. It was indeed not good for him to return late. How about this? 1 foot 11 inches pay him. Yi Fan took out a silver ingot and handed it to the waiter. The waiter was overjoyed. Yi Fan, you're really a good person. Then, can I go now? A look of pleasant surprise appeared on Fu Tian's face. As long as he could leave, then everything would be fine. You? No. Since you have made a mistake, you need to be punished. I won't let you leave until the punishment is over. Yi Fan said indifferently. He carried Fu Tian and hurried back to the courtyard. In the small courtyard there was a burst of lively sounds. Master, I can't lift your saber. Mu Jiahuang was arranged to cut the meat, but she couldn't pick up the kitchen knife. Master, these iron skewers LDT's too heavy. I can't lift it. Su Daji said. It was Xiao Changqian's first time roasting tiger meat. He even took out all the forks that he had brought with him from under his bed, preparing to make a big meal. When he saw the women, he immediately ordered them to cut the meat and skewer it. However, when Mu Jiahuang and the others held those knives, they felt that they were heavier than Mount Tai, so heavy that they could not lift them up. You guys are usually so strong. Why are you so weak now? I can tell that you want to eat the ready-made food. Go sit over there and wait. Xiao Changtian was speechless. There's no other way. In the end, I'm the one who took on everything. Xiao Changtian let out a long sigh. He easily picked up the kitchen knife in his hand and cut open the tiger's limbs. With the system's reward of great success in saber techniques and great mastery in cooking, Xiao Changtian could cut meat as easily as a butcher cutting a cow. In a short while, Xiao Changtian had cut the tiger meat into small pieces. His speed of putting on the skewers wasn't slow either. It only took him 15 minutes to finish. Jiu'er, you roast it. Xiao Changtian saw that the preparations were complete, so he decided to let Jiu'er go and roast the skewers. He needed to rest on the recliner for a while. He was tired from working. In order to prevent the sudden death of his previous life from happening again, Xiao Changtian was very cautious. Whenever his body felt unwell, he would take medicine and rest. But one can't carry it. Mu Jiahuang lowered her head, not knowing what to say. Master Stick was blessed with laws. Take it. One don't believe that you can't carry it. It's not like it's anything heavy. Xiao Changtian frowned and handed a skewer to Mu Jiahuang. Mu Jiahuang was helpless. She gathered all her true essence and prepared to take the skewers that were as big as Mount Tai. However, nothing happened when the skewer was placed in her hands. Look, you're just trying to be lazy. These sticks don't weigh much. Xiao Changtian said lightly. Yes. Mu Jiahuang hurriedly nodded, not understanding why. Naturally, it was Master who gave the orders to these iron skewers. A deep and ancient voice sounded. I see. Thank you, Senior Divine Dragon. Mu Jiahuang nodded and gestured to the golden arowana in the pond. Xiao Changtian was lying down on the rocking chair. Comfortable. Xiao Changtian even wanted to take a nap, but the system notification sounded at this moment. Ding. A genius with luck has appeared. Chapter 175 Chapter 175. So it's my eldest senior brother. Chapter 175. So it's my eldest senior brother. A hotshot? Disciple? Quote. Xiao Changtian was delighted and sat up from the recliner. This was good. Since his disciple was here, he naturally had to hurry up and take in a disciple. Completing the system's mission as soon as possible could open the path to invincibility. As for the rewards, forget it. Xiao Changtian had never looked forward to the system's rewards. He had just transmigrated in the early stages, so he was still full of anticipation. Until now, the system was getting more and more stingy. It was simply not human. That's right. The system isn't human to begin with. Xiao Changtian stood up and prepared to leave the courtyard to welcome his disciple. But very quickly Yi Fan entered the small courtyard one step ahead of him. Furthermore, he was holding a Fuqian in his hand. Let me go, let me go. Initially, Fuqian was still making a ruckus. However, when he walked into the small courtyard, it became quiet in an instant. This was because he sensed a few powerful auras sweeping over. One soars in the 9 heavens and shocks the giant dragon in the universe, just like a god, ignoring him. A phoenix with an endless fire domain burning around its body emitted 7-colored divine light. A divine dog with 1 foot moving horizontally and a universe star as a chess piece that wanted to devour the sky and the moon. A white tiger that stood at the end of the heavens and crushed countless stars with 1 foot. An ant that walked out of the chaos and a monkey that moved the world. These few shadows appeared in his mind. He was carried by Yi Fan and did not dare to move at all. He was extremely obedient, as if he was petrified on the spot. What is this place? Fu Tian struggled to turn his neck and looked at the people in the courtyard respectfully. The muscular man gave off an immense power. That youth with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes was like an unsheathed green peak, incomparably fierce. Yi Fan swept his gaze over everyone. Everyone gave him an extremely dangerous feeling. Even if he put him down and fought with everyone in front of him alone, he seemed to be no match for them. Heavens! What the hell was this place? How could there be so many experts? Fortunately, there's still a mortal. Fu Tian heaved a sigh of relief. He could sense Xiao Changtian's aura. He could sense that Xiao Changtian didn't have any spiritual energy fluctuations around him. He was just a mortal. It's good that someone is noob than me. Only then did Fu Tian relax a little. He turned to look at Xiao Changtian, wanting to see this unlucky guy. But when he looked over, he was dumbfounded. He felt like a bolt of lightning had struck his brain. Xiao Changtian was dressed in a green robe. He had a handsome face and an extraordinary temperament. The key was that he exuded an unparalleled charm at all times. As she had just stood up, her back was facing Fu Tian. That back. Fuck, a plant. Is that the master who gave me the cultivation technique previously? Fu Tian was stunned. This back view was exactly the same as the back view in his mind. The most important thing was that kind of otherworldly temperament, unrestrained and ethereal. Master. Fu Tian was overjoyed. He did not expect to meet his master here. Everyone stared at Fu Tian in confusion. Who is this person? Is he your disciple, second senior brother? Di Wuzheng asked. No, I don't know him. Wang Miaoshou shook her head. No, he's a little hooligan who ate in a restaurant without paying. Yi Fan lifted Fu Tian up and said calmly. You're not paying? Who is it? When Xiao Changtian heard that someone was trying to dine and dash, he immediately turned his head. In Dayang town, wouldn't he be beaten to death? However, when he turned around and saw Fu Tian, the system notified him. Ding! The hotshot has locked onto Fu Tian. This is my disciple? Xiao Changtian was stunned. He did not expect Yi Fan to directly bring it back for him. That Yi Fan put him down first. Xiao Changtian said lightly. Yes, master. Yi Fan nodded and put Fu Tian down. Master, I've been looking for you so hard. After being put down, Fu Tian immediately cried and hugged Xiao Changtian's thigh. Xiao Changtian was stunned. He hadn't accepted a disciple yet, so why did this disciple suddenly become his disciple? Also, this disciple didn't pay for his meal in the restaurant. The owner of the restaurant had a very good relationship with him. If he were to pursue this matter, it would be difficult to say. Fu Tian, why didn't you pay after you finished eating? Xiao Changtian asked with his hands behind his back. Although he was a hot shot, he didn't pay for his meals. What was going on? The disciples of Xiao Changtian should at least have good conduct. Master, it's not that I don't want to pay. I really don't have any money left. Fu Tian hurriedly said. Then why did you run? Yi Fan asked again. Fu Tian looked at Yi Fan, not knowing how to express his thoughts at that time. It was too embarrassing. The peak of the human race? The people in this small courtyard couldn't beat him. His face was flushed red, feeling that he was too Chinibu. Master, I felt embarrassed, so I ran away. Helplessly, Fu Tian still spoke out his inner thoughts at that time. There were so many powerful existences in the small courtyard. He understood that there was no point in lying. I see. Yi Fan nodded, and a look of realization appeared on his face. He could tell that Fu Tian was not lying. But, when did you become a disciple? Jiang Beichen asked curiously. Fu Tian kept calling him master, and his master did not seem to refute him. A few days ago, Master's divine essence left his body and asked me to come and take him as my master, said Futian. Divine essence unsheathed? Xiao Changtian was slightly stunned. He was just a mortal, how could he know about divine essence leaving his body? Xiao Changtian thought for a while and nodded. That's right, he will be your 8th junior brother from now on. Xiao Changtian didn't even need to think about it. It was definitely the system's doing. If it wasn't for the system, where would the divine essence leave his body come from? 8th junior brother, we got to know each other through fighting. I'm your eldest senior brother, Yi Fan. Yi Fan helped Futian up. Futian was shocked. No wonder he could not fight back when facing Yi Fan. So it was his eldest brother. No wonder he had such strength. Greetings, eldest senior brother. Futian said respectfully to Yi Fan. After that, Futian got to know his fellow disciples again. Not long after, Mu Jiahuang had finished roasting the tiger meat. Everyone eats barbecue. Mu Jiahuang shouted and brought the skewers over. Everyone sat around the table. It was a little crowded, but everyone was happy. They picked up the tiger meat and took a bite. The power in Tiger Demon Emperor's body was absorbed by the disciples. Waves of aura fluctuations, especially Sudaji. Chapter 176. Chapter 176. This person is the human emperor? He's the human emperor's master. Chapter 176. This person is the human emperor? He's the human emperor's master. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The group of disciples took a bite. The roasted tiger meat skewers sizzled with oil, and the fragrance assailed their noses. Delicious. Chu Yiren's younger sister said. Her fair and playful face was already smeared with 2 streaks of oil, with cumin and chili on top. Jiu, your craftsmanship is not bad. You've improved. Xiao Changtian nodded in satisfaction. Jiuer's cooking skills were only average. Master has taught me well. Mu Jiahuang replied respectfully. Sudaji was eating the softness of the tiger power demon emperor. The spiritual power in her body was constantly expanding. It was originally a member of the demon race and could continuously become stronger by devouring its companions. The true essence in its body was soaring at a rapid speed. The courtyard was filled with joy. However, outside the small courtyard, the barefoot emperor was rushing over in a hurry. His face was filled with panic. Ever since he had guessed Xiao Changtian's identity, which was likely to be the reincarnation of the human sovereign realm, he had already made up his mind. Finally, he arrived at the courtyard. Senior, please save me. As soon as the barefoot emperor appeared, Mo Xinggu, Xing Tianzi, and the others hurriedly put down the skewers in their hands and ran out to set up the array formation again. Senior, please save me. However, the barefoot emperor remained kneeling on the ground and showed no intention of attacking. He kept kowtowing. This was the reincarnation of the human ruler, the emperor of the human race, and the hope of leading the rise of the human race in the future. The barefoot emperor would not dare to offend him. Someone is asking for help. Let him in. Xiao Changtian said lightly. Yes. Mo Xinggu and the other 3 nodded and stepped aside. The barefooted emperor was overjoyed. He hurriedly thanked the 4 of them and ran in with a foot in his hand. Senior, please save me. Barefoot emperor knelt in front of Xiao Changtian, his voice shrill. Xiao Changtian frowned as he saw the foot in the hand of the barefoot emperor. Your foot was cut off? You're seriously injured. Xiao Changtian said in a deep voice. Yes, senior, please save us. We wanted to offend you before. Please forgive us and save us once. The barefoot emperor kneeled on the ground, trembling. Facing the human emperor, he stuttered so hard that he couldn't think of any other idiom. He could only apologize frantically. Forgive you? Xiao Changtian was stunned. Do we know each other? Seeing Xiao Changtian's confusion, Zhang Fenglei said, Senior, this person and his companion came to the small courtyard to cause trouble in the middle of the night and were chased away by us. Is there such a thing? Xiao Changtian frowned and his brain started working. Soon, his eyes lit up and he sorted out the situation. 1C. This person wanted to steal something in the middle of the night, but the guards chased him away. Later on, the 2 of them were injured, but they heard that in the entire Dayang town, only he knew some medical skills. Xiao Changtian felt that he was very smart. Then are you sincerely repenting now? Xiao Changtian looked at the barefooted emperor. Yes. The barefoot emperor hurriedly nodded. The human emperor had known about their secret plan from the start. Fortunately, human emperor had held back. Senior, my companion and I will definitely turn over a new leaf. We will definitely not do such despicable things, the barefoot emperor said solemnly. However, Xiao Changtian knew that the words spoken in a moment of desperation did not count. How about this? I can treat the two of you, but after you recover, you have to stay in Daong town and help the residents do odd jobs for 3 years. Xiao Changtian decided to use labor education to punish them. Not only would it allow the mortals of Daong town to have more helpers, but it would also allow the person in front of him to obtain a sense of happiness and accomplishment from labor. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Yes, sir. The barefoot emperor was overjoyed when he heard the conditions. He thought Xiao Changtian would imprison them again. But now they were only helping the mortals of Daong town. To them it was simply too easy. Fuqian, come with me. Xiao Changtian called Mu Jiuhuang and his new disciple Fuqian. He wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to make Fuqian receive his punishment. Yes. Mu Jiuhuang and Fuqian nodded. After that, Xiao Changtian bandaged the barefooted emperor's foot. Then he was carried by Fuqian to the forest. No need. One can walk by myself. Being carried by a disciple of the human emperor made the barefooted emperor feel weak. The disciples of the human emperor were all supreme existences in the world. Even the weakest among them was a 9th-grade great emperor. Unlike him and Yin Jiufeng, although they were great emperors, they were only the weakest 1st-grade great emperors. The great emperor would only step into the great emperor realm after the 9th level of the Mahayana realm. The 9th level of the Mahayana realm, the 1st level of the 1st level, was extremely difficult. Was it difficult? Every level of the 9th level of the martial monarch realm was equivalent to the white heaven. To be able to become a 5th-grade great emperor, one would have to be an expert of their era. But for the disciples of Renhuang, eating was as easy as drinking water. Soon they arrived at the forest. Your companion is seriously injured. I need to perform surgery now. You guys help me. Xiao Changtian said in a deep voice. Yes. The few of them hurriedly nodded. The barefoot emperor and Fuqian were arranged to fetch water. Mu Jiuhuang was helping him from the side. Fellow Taoist, I don't think you're one of Senior's disciples, right? The barefoot emperor asked with a smile. The man in the skull mask had not given him any information about Fuqian. No, I just received Master's Divine Yuan Strength Transmission. Within a few days, Fu Tian said lightly and told him about his experiences over the past few days. After saying that, the water was filled. You will come later, I will go first. Fu Tian left in front. The barefoot emperor was stunned. In just a few days he had gone from an unlucky person to a hot shot. This sounded like a fantasy. The barefoot emperor frowned and prepared to leave. However, as soon as he stood up, the withered leaves on the spot where Fuqian had sat before turned green again, and the withered grass regained its vitality. He could not help but worship the golden power. Human emperor. The barefoot emperor knelt on the ground and looked at the golden aura in front of him. He was shocked. Is that the innate Renhuang Qi? The Renhuang Qi that only Renhuangs possess. How can this be? Even if a Renhuang gives his aura to a disciple, it will still turn into postnatal Renhuang aura? The barefoot emperor kneeled, his brows furrowed in disbelief. He didn't understand why such a situation had occurred. Then, an extremely terrifying thought appeared in his mind. Could it be that Fuqian is the Renhuang? That senior is the master of the human emperor. The barefoot emperor was so frightened that he sat on the ground. Chapter 177 Chapter 177. As expected of the human emperor, we can't beat him. I. Chapter 177. As expected of the human emperor, we can't beat him. I. The barefoot emperor was completely petrified. Fuqian was the Renhuang, so that's senior. It was the supreme of Renhuang. The human emperor was the emperor of the human race. Who could be the master of the human emperor? What kind of expert was that? The barefoot emperor slapped his own face twice, snapping him out of his shock. No, I'll let Yin Jiufeng analyze it after he recovers. My brain is not working well, so I must be wrong. Perhaps Fuqian was only contaminated by senior's aura. The barefoot emperor thought as he hurried back. At this moment, Xiao Changtian was already operating on Yin Jiufeng. Xiao Changtian was holding a pair of big scissors with a determined look on his face as he cut Yin Jiufeng's tendons. Hiss. The Barefoot Emperor was scared silly. How was this a rescue? He was clearly harming people. The Barefoot Emperor was terrified. I knew it. Why would Senior forget about the past and treat Yin Jiufeng? It turns out that you want to torture the two of us. He wants Yin Jiufeng to die a tragic death in great pain. As for me, he wants me to collapse in fear and become a lunatic. The Barefoot Emperor held his head, not daring to look. His entire body trembled. He could even hear Yin Jiufeng's screams from time to time. Xiao Changtian was speechless. He was also on the verge of collapse. They had come in a hurry, but they had forgotten to bring the anesthetic. Now that Yin Jiufeng was screaming, there was nothing they could do. However, when the screams entered his mind, he became even more frightened and curled up into a ball. Don't kill me. Oh, don't kill me. The Barefoot Emperor held his head and leaned against the tree as he muttered. Until Mu Jiahuang walked over and looked at him in confusion. Your companion has already woken up. What are you doing here? Mu Jiahuang stared at the Barefoot Emperor. She could feel that the strength of these two people was not simple. In fact, he was far above her. All? The Barefoot Emperor opened his eyes and saw that Yin Jiufeng had been resurrected. His face was pale. What is it? Yin Jiufeng is not dead yet. The Barefooted Emperor was stunned. Even the blood vessels of the Yin Jiufeng had been cut off, yet he was resurrected. He had vaguely seen the senior sewing Yin Jiufeng up with a needle and thread, as if he was going to be a puppet. I didn't die. Yin Jiufeng walked over and said weakly. You really didn't die? The Barefoot Emperor was confused. Could this Yin Jiufeng be a puppet? It was very possible. He decided to test it. A great emperor he once knew told him that the puppets he refined would not feel pain. Take your companion to clean up. Remember not to touch the wound. Xiao Changtian walked over with the surgical tools and said lightly. All right. The Barefoot Emperor nodded and immediately supported Yin Jiufeng to the edge of the lake. A plan had already formed in his mind. He wanted to test Yin Jiufeng when he wasn't paying attention. If Yin Jiufeng was attacked by him and cried out in pain and became angry, it would prove that he was not a puppet but had really been revived. If Yin Jiufeng didn't feel any pain, then he should run away quickly. All right, squat down. I'll help you wash up. When they arrived at the lake, the Barefoot Emperor asked Yin Jiufeng to sit down on the green stone slab beside them. Yes. Yin Jiufeng nodded and sat down. However, just as he sat down, a large foot came straight at his back. Bang! Yin Jiufeng flew out like a cannonball and crashed into a big tree in front of him, breaking the whole tree. All Barefoot, what are you doing? Do you want to die? Yin Jiufeng stared coldly at the Barefoot Emperor. He was still in a severely injured state. His head was on the ground, his hands were behind his back, and his buttocks were facing the sky. The posture was extremely beautiful. This, can you call it pain? The Barefoot Emperor was stunned. If he could feel the pain, it meant that Yin Jiufeng was still alive and had not been sutured into a zombie? That was great. Yin Jiufeng was still alive. Could it be that Senior is really saving people? Instead of killing people? Oh my God, what kind of terrifying medical skills is this? The Barefooted Emperor's face was once again filled with shock. His face was filled with disbelief. Resurrection? Could this be the art of revival? The Barefoot Emperor was confused. You bastard, quickly help me up. My true essence is still sealed. Yin Jiufeng cursed. Oh. The Barefoot Emperor nodded and walked over. He wrapped his arms around Yin Jiufeng's waist and prepared to help him up. Xiao Changtian happened to pass by. He saw the Barefoot Emperor hugging Yin Jiufeng's waist, while Yin Jiufeng was kneeling on the ground with his butt sticking out. Hiss. Xiao Changtian was stunned. Cough cough, his injuries are still serious now. This kind of exercise can wait for the future. Xiao Changtian coughed twice and left in a hurry. Awkward. It was too awkward. He did not expect that these two people were actually. Forget it, it's not a big deal. Xiao Changtian shook his head and threw it to the back of his mind. What is Senior talking about? The Barefoot Emperor was stunned. As for Yin Jiufeng, he was completely enraged. He swore that after he recovered from his injuries, he would let Barefoot know why the flowers were so red. Yin Jiufeng sat down again under the support of the Barefooted Emperor. Why are you staring at me like that? Did I do something wrong? The Barefoot Emperor looked at Yin Jiufeng in confusion. He scratched his feet in confusion and his face revealed a puzzled expression. Yin Nine Wind, dash. Right, I suspect that our previous guess was wrong. That senior is not the human emperor. The barefoot emperor spoke again. Not human emperor? Yin Jiufeng was shocked. Xiao Changtian was not a Renhuang, so how could he kill the clone of the demon god? Senior's disciple, Fu Tian, might be the true Renhuang. Previously, I went to work with him alone. The barefoot emperor recounted his guesses in detail. Impossible. Since Fu Tian was a Renhuang, he must be the strongest of the human race. How could there be anyone who could become his master? Even if the Renhuang reincarnates, he still carries boundless fate. It was absolutely impossible for a human to suppress him. Yin Jiufeng shook his head. However, the aura on Fu Tian's body is definitely not fake. The barefoot emperor was puzzled. As a great emperor, it was naturally impossible for him to be mistaken about the aura of a Renhuang. How about this? I'll think of a way to test it again. I know that when the reincarnation of the human ruler encounters danger, he will be blessed by boundless providence. Then we'll... Chapter 178 Chapter 178, Start of the Crimson Moon, 1. Chapter 178, Start of the Crimson Moon, 1. Yin Jiufeng and the barefoot great emperor had discussed this matter. They would quietly knock out Fu Tian and test if they could kill him to see if a miracle would happen. Good. The barefoot emperor nodded. The human ruler carried the highest fate of the human race. As long as he was a human ruler, he could turn misfortune into fortune when he encountered danger. Fellow Taoist Fu Tian, come here for a moment. The barefoot emperor shouted with a smile. Me? Is there anything? Fu Tian asked in puzzlement as he walked over. Just now, his master had even instructed him to try his best to stay away from these two people and not have too much contact with them in private. Fu Tian remembered his master's words and stared at the two of them warily, but he did not show it on his face. Fellow Taoist Fu Tian, I don't know how to treat this wound. Can you help me? Yin Jiufeng said. As Yin Jiufeng spoke, he gave the barefoot emperor a look. The barefoot emperor understood that he was about to make his move. Where? Fu Tian asked. Only now did he understand why his master wanted him to keep a distance from these two people. It turned out that these two were a little stupid and didn't even know how to treat such a small injury. My calf. Yin Jiufeng said. Wait here. Fu Tian said impatiently and squatted down. He observed it briefly and found that the cloth used to stop the bleeding had only cracked. Immediately, Fu Tian started to tie Yin Jiufeng up with sackcloth. The barefoot emperor nodded. Now that Fu Tian was squatting, it was a good opportunity to knock him out. The barefoot emperor smiled, his palm in the shape of a blade. A palm blade slashed towards Fu Tian's neck. He could guarantee that with this palm strike Fu Tian would definitely faint. However, his palm had just landed halfway when he was suddenly shocked. Fu Tian tore half of the linen cloth and then turned around to get a new one. Just as Fu Tian's neck moved away, Yin Jiufeng's thigh was right below. It was already too late for the barefoot emperor to stop. Kacha. With a crisp sound, the palm strike landed on Yin Jiufeng's thigh. What's wrong? Fu Tian also heard the sound of something shattering and raised his head to ask. No, it's nothing. Yin Jiufeng gritted his teeth. His pale face had turned the color of a pig's liver due to the pain. However, if he told the truth, his plan would be exposed. He could only grit his teeth and stare at the barefooted emperor with a smile. The barefoot emperor felt a chill run down his spine and retracted his hand in embarrassment. Then I'll continue changing the linen for you. Fu Tian shook his head. These two people were talking nonsense. Be careful this time. Yin Jiufeng stared at the barefoot emperor and said angrily through Zhenyuan voice transmission. Oh. The barefoot emperor smiled awkwardly as he once again formed the palm blade in his hand. This time he locked onto Fu Tian's neck and slashed down again. At the same time he made sure that if anything unexpected happened he could stop in time. Whoosh! The palm blade broke through the wind and slashed down again. The linen cloth doesn't seem to be enough, I'll change it. Fu Tian flashed again. This? The barefoot emperor was dumbfounded as he looked at his palm blade that had stopped in midair. Dodged again? This? Yin Jiufeng was also stunned. The first time was an accident, the second was luck, but the third was definitely a problem. Again. Yin Jiufeng transmitted his Zhenyuan to the barefoot emperor. The barefoot emperor's expression turned serious. This time he used both his palms together, turning them into two palm blades that aimed at Fu Tian. Finally he seized the opportunity and landed on Fu Tian's neck. However, suddenly, a huge golden page appeared in the void behind Futian. The words Book of Man were extremely eye-catching. I was wrong. Barefoot Emperor stared at the golden book. The whole person directly knelt down. That can be the legendary emperor can have the book. Yin Jiufeng was also trembling. Under the Book of Man, any great emperor would have to kneel. Yin Jiufeng's body shook and he broke away from Futian's help. He knelt down in front of Futian. What are you two doing? Futian was stunned. He stood up and the huge Book of Man behind him slowly disappeared, returning to his body. Only when the pressure of the Book of Man disappeared did the Barefoot Emperor and Yin Jiufeng dare to stand up. No, it's nothing. We just suddenly cramped up. Yin Jiufeng hurriedly explained. Me too, the Barefoot Emperor said. Fu Tian looked at the two of them with a puzzled expression. These two people were acting strangely and they looked like they were not smart. I understand. Master is afraid that I will be assimilated by the two of them. Fu Tian's eyes lit up and he looked enlightened. I see. Since there's nothing else, I'll leave. Fu Tian said calmly and turned to leave. Master's words were indeed reasonable. Yes. Yin Jiufeng and the Barefoot Emperor were still standing there like minions, not daring to move. They only heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Fu Tian leave. It really is the human emperor. Only then did Yin Jiufeng confirm that Fu Tian was the Renhuang. However, his eyes immediately shot out a terrifying light. Then who is the master of the human emperor? He said in surprise. The two of them were stunned on the spot. Tom. It disappeared quietly. Under Xiao Changtian's lead, the two great emperors arrived at the courtyard. The two of you can stay here for the time being. After a few days your injuries will be completely healed. When the time comes you can help the residents of Dayang town to work. Just treat it as you paying my medical fees. Xiao Changtian ordered. Yes. The Barefoot Emperor and Yin Jiufeng nodded respectfully. Because the courtyard was relatively small, even though it had been renovated, there were so many disciples. Some disciples even brought their families. Therefore these two people could only be arranged to stay in the woodshed. The two of us couldn't ascend in our previous lives, but the opportunity in this life has arrived. Looking at the small courtyard in front of him, Yin Jiufeng suddenly had a terrifying thought. They were able to take advantage of the opportunity of such a senior expert and take advantage of the situation. They had a chance of ascending in this life. The barefooted emperor nodded solemnly. As for the crystal ball that they used to contact the dark chamber, it was crushed by the two of them. In the dark chamber, the man wearing the white skull mask looked at the two broken crystal balls on the table and remained silent for a long time. After a full 2 hours he said, "Speed up the progress. Within 3 days we will completely open the door of antiquity." The message was sent out through the shadows. On the surface of the East Sea, the huge dark castle quietly released black fog. Tonight, a red moon began to appear in the sky above the Tianyuan continent. Chapter 179 Chapter 179 The Ancient Door, Open. _I. Chapter 179 The Ancient Door, Open. _I. The crimson moon appeared and blood began to appear in the inky sky. Countless sect experts woke up from their seclusion with shock on their faces. What's going on? Nebula Emperor looked at the red moon in the sky and frowned. He felt a terrifying sense of danger. Because the Central Heaven continent was close to the victorious East continent, he could clearly feel that a huge amount of luck was like a boundless sea, surging towards the dark castle. "Close the sect's grand array," said Emperor Nebula coldly. Buzz. Then a white light curtain appeared and covered the sky above Nebula's sect. The luck that was about to fly away was locked. Such a scene occurred everywhere on the Tianyuan continent. The red moon caused everyone to panic. Countless experts stared at the sky and exchanged information. Only the Northern Baron stayed. When a huge force descended, wanting to absorb the Northern Baron continent's fate, the golden arowana in the pool immediately jumped up and a golden dragon shadow appeared, shattering the force. The night was deep, but it was no longer quiet. On this night, countless corpses of demon beasts appeared in the forest of the demon race. Corpses littered the ground and blood was everywhere. On the 5 seas, sea demon corpses floated. The 5 seas became a sea of blood. More and more demon beasts began to lose their consciousness. Their eyes were bloodshot and they became violent, constantly attacking humans. The night passed. Early in the morning, the first ray of sunlight shone on Xiao Changtian's face. Xiao Changtian's expression changed slightly, and he woke up. Strange, why is there a smell of blood in the air today? Xiao Changtian asked. When he walked out of the courtyard, he was surprised to find that everyone was already sitting on the stone bench, chattering as if they were discussing something. What happened? Why are you up so early? Xiao Changtian asked. He saw that everyone's expressions did not seem too good. Master, something big has happened. Last night a red moon appeared. The fate of the entire continent seemed to have been absorbed. The demon race and the sea race went crazy and began to attack the humans. Mu Jiahuang was the first to speak. As the Nine Phoenix Great Emperor, he was naturally concerned about the safety of the continent. What is it? Is there such a thing? Xiao Changtian was stunned. Wasn't the red moon a symbol of the apocalypse? There was such a mysterious thing in the fantasy world. Master, what should we do now? Mu Jiahuang asked doubtfully. The great change on the Tianyuan continent was definitely the preparation of the Chamber of Darkness. Could it be that Master was not prepared to make a move yet? Just stay at home. Xiao Changtian spread his hands and said lightly. According to Jiao, something big had happened in the entire cultivation world. What could mortals like them do? Moreover, the demon beasts were rampant. No one would know who would come first, tomorrow or the accident. They should just stay at home. With the protection of 4 immortal cultivator experts, they were still safe for the time being. Master, there are more people outside. Are they still in deep trouble? Mu Jiahuang asked again. As an expert, he naturally had the responsibility of an expert. As the Nine Phoenix Emperor, Mu Jiahuang established the Nine Phoenix Empire and found like-minded experts. Only then could the human race not be bullied by other races when they were weak. However, wasn't Master prepared to help the human race? Mu Jiahuang's face revealed a puzzled expression. Stay here. Someone will take care of this matter. Don't be hot-blooded and send yourselves to your deaths. Xiao Changtian said solemnly. He didn't expect Mu Jiahuang to be such a hot-blooded girl. He couldn't let Jira get dizzy and go fight the wild beast with the red-tasseled spear. This was just losing his life. The immortal cultivation world had changed greatly, so naturally there were immortal cultivators to resolve it. They were mortals and self-preservation was enough. Someone solved it. Mu Jiahuang revealed a puzzled expression. Her master had said so before, but now the fate of the entire Tianyuan continent had changed. Is there really someone who can solve it? Mu Jiahuang asked again. If Senior didn't make a move, could there be any other expert on this continent who could accomplish this? Don't worry, it won't take too long. Xiao Changtian smiled faintly. The powerhouses of the human race were definitely not to be trifled with. No matter which fantasy world it was, the human race had never lacked high-level powerhouses. Each of them had a shrewd plan. As for the demonic beast attack, it was very simple for the human sex to stop it. Just like now, although the people of Great Sun Town were in a state of panic, no one was injured yet. It must be that the immortal of Great Sun had already made his move. Not too long. Hearing this, Mu Jiahuang's eyes lit up. Could it be that Master had already set up a trap? It must be like this. Mu Jiahuang nodded and her face lit up. That's right. So for the time being, you have to stay at home safely. So, Changtian nodded. Yes, sir. Everyone present nodded. You guys stay at home and don't go anywhere. I'll go out and take a look. As for Xiao Changtian, he was going to take Go Z out to take a look and discuss with the Great Sun Immortal. Alpha, let's go. Xiao Changtian left with Alpha. Seniors, tell me what you know. After Xiao Changtian left, Mu Jiahuang looked at the 2 emperors and asked. And in that place where the fog was, the middle-aged man's demonic blue smoke was floating. However, today an extremely powerful force like a meteor rushed from the surface of the East Sea and instantly smashed down. Clang? Clang? The ancient and weathered stone door let out a series of booming sounds, like a great bell. Behind the huge stone door, roars, wails, and bloodthirstiness came from behind. All sorts of sounds. It was as if a demon was anxious to come out from behind the stone door. Clang? Clang? The huge stone door shook. The crack that had been blasted out earlier became larger and larger. At a certain moment, it actually completely collapsed. As the crack cracked, countless dense cracks crawled over the entire stone door. Boom! Accompanied by a dull sound, the huge stone door turned into countless tiny fragments and directly shattered in space. Countless figures flew out from the stone door at the same time, blocking the light of this world. The tyrannical power caused countless experts on the Tianyuan continent to tremble, be it the sea race, demons or humans. The ancient door has opened. In the Great Sun Town, the divination compass in the hands of the divination pavilion A/Laster Mo Tianji fell to the ground. In the small courtyard, Mu Jihuang, who was sighing with the two great emperors, also had a sudden change in expression. Chapter 180 Taoist Master De Yang is still fierce ally. Chapter 180 Taoist Master De Yang is still fierce ally. The Nine Phoenix Empire immediately spread the news of the birth of an ancient emperor. What is it? Didn't all the ancient emperors fall before the emperor fall era? Why are there still ancient emperors? Where did they come from? Many sects were at a loss and didn't know what to do about this news. Everyone believed that before the fallen emperor era, all the ancient emperors had already fallen. But now that they were told that an ancient emperor had appeared, everyone would be puzzled. The fallen emperor era was a forbidden term. No one knew how terrifying ancient emperors were. In an instant a storm was about to come. An oppressive and fearful atmosphere enveloped the entire Tianyuan continent. Xiao Changtian took Alpha along the path and looked up at the dark clouds pressing down on the city. The sky was as dark as ink, and his face was filled with doubt. Is the cultivation world really going to change this time? Sigh, mortals suffer when immortals fight. Xiao Changtian shook his head. The world of cultivation had undergone a great change. For mortals it was the most difficult. A casual sword chi could destroy a town. With a casual look, maybe she and Alpha wouldn't be happy. But fortunately, we still have the Great Sun Immortal as our backer. Xiao Changtian nodded and said seriously. There was no doubt about the strength of the Great Sun Immortal. From the North Barren State to the West Bull State, and then to the East Victory State, there was basically no immortal cultivator that the Great Sun Immortal could not deal with. Alpha, in my opinion, Immortal De Yang must have hidden his strength. He definitely wants to be a reclusive expert. And the last time we recruited guards, there was a sea of people. Even if they had many friends, it was impossible for everyone to come and support the Great Sun Immortal. It must be because the Great Sun Immortal was powerful, and they came to help in order to curry favor with the Great Sun Immortal. I see, the Great Sun Immortal is actually a reclusive expert. Xiao Changqian's eyes lit up as he analyzed the situation. Alpha, don't you think so? Xiao Changtian asked. Woof woof. Alpha nodded cooperatively. Ah, that's great. We're staying at the foot of the mountain of the reclusive expert. Xiao Changtian suddenly felt that his luck wasn't that bad after all. At least he had found someone to rely on. With that, Xiao Changtian brought Alpha and continued to walk towards the Great Sun sect. Inside the Great Sun Hall. Buzz. The Great Sun Immortal's body suddenly trembled. His realm suddenly broke through the barrier of the realm smoothly and broke through to the divine transformation realm in a short time. He directly arrived at Tong Tian. The heavenly arrival state wasn't over yet. He was like a rocket. Saint King. He only stopped when he reached the Saint King realm. Senior's painting truly contains the supreme great Tao. In just a few days I've comprehended all the laws of the realm and directly reached the Saint Ruler realm. Senior is truly terrifying. I originally thought that Great Sun, would stop at the Golden Elixir realm in this lifetime. I didn't expect that one would be able to meet a reclusive expert like Senior. This is my destiny. The Great Sun Immortal said emotionally. As for perfected Zhongxian, perfected Beishan, and perfected Qiongqing, they have all broken through to the Mahayana realm. As for the disciples of the Great Sun sect, they were no weaker than those of a first-rank sect. However, one still need to discuss with Senior regarding the chaotic times of the ancient emperors. The Great Sun Immortal kept the painting and flew out of the Great Sun sect, preparing to go to the small courtyard to find Xiao Changtian. Boom. At this moment, 100-meter-tall shadow suddenly appeared in the sky above Great Sun Town. Its figure covered the sky and the sun, and its entire body emitted a terrifying power. There was a 100-meter-long python wrapped around his body. The python was covered in black scales, and the scales emitted a cold light. That pair of green eyes made people tremble uncontrollably when they saw them. He is Emperor Bai Lin. The giant snake was his pet, the jade-scaled Snake King. Hee, a bunch of ants die. Emperor Bai Lin harumphed coldly. The giant python on his body swooped down, and its black hole-like mouth seemed to want to swallow the entire Great Sun Town. The sky in Daeong Town darkened. What is that? It's such a huge python. Run. I only ate a bowl of your noodles, so I naturally have to pay you for a bowl of noodles. Don't run, come back. I don't want money anymore. Hurry up and run. Countless citizens of Daeong Town were panicking as they fled in panic. The surrounding stalls were hit by the crowd. Xiao Changtian hurriedly walked into the tea house. However, in the middle of the road, a child had appeared crying. Not far ahead, a carriage was approaching. Just as they were about to collide. Can we not have such a melodramatic plot? Xiao Changtian was speechless. There were too many bad points. He couldn't even complain. However, 1am a member of the flower family. Which one of us doesn't have good moral character and act bravely? Xiao Changtian quickly ran out, picked up the child in the middle of the road, and brought him back to the tea house. The carriage sped past and the wheels rolled forward, leaving only 2 tracks on the ground. The little kid was scared and hid in Xiao Changtian's arms. Xiao Changtian looked at the giant python in the sky. Suddenly, a huge sun rose slowly. It was the Great Sun Immortal. Impudent. The Great Sun Immortal shouted angrily. Even if the person in front of him was an ancient great emperor, he was still not afraid. There were mortals at the foot of the mountain. How could he let ordinary people be swallowed? Moreover, there was the painting scroll that Senior had given him. The Great Sun Jinren circulated his cultivation technique, and a rising sun appeared behind him. It was like a bright light that illuminated the suffering Great Sun Town. You're just an ant. You're courting death. Emperor Bailin sneered and glared at him. A mere Saint King dared to go against him? The green-scaled Snake King could devour it. However, in the next moment, the Great Sun Immortal suddenly opened the Nanming Ignis portrait. In an instant, the endless fire territory appeared. The blazing fire made the space crackle. The flames danced as if they were jumping in space. Yes. The Great Sun Immortal shouted softly. The flames turned into a long dragon and swallowed the green-scaled Snake King in an instant. Roar! The green-scaled Snake King let out a shrill cry of pain. It was burned by the Nanming primordial fire, emitting a stench. In the blink of an eye, it fell on the street and turned into ashes. Nanming primordial fire? No, it's a flame of a higher level than the Nanming flame. Who are you? Emperor Bailin looked at Perfected De Yang in disbelief. He did not expect Perfected De Yang to have such a divine fire. Go to the netherworld and ask. The Great Sun Jinren chuckled. He had no intention of letting Emperor Jade scaled off. He deserved to die. Whoosh! A fire arrow instantly shot out and attached itself to Emperor Bailin's body. Ah! Emperor Bailin was reduced to ashes as he howled in pain. Good. Immortal De Yang is invincible. Immortal De Yang is invincible. Shouts sounded one after another and everyone cheered. Xiao Changtian also smiled faintly. As expected, the Immortal De Yang is a reclusive master. Chapter 181 Chapter 181. Go out and abduct a martial monarch realm expertly. Chapter 181. Go out and abduct a martial monarch realm expertly. Immortal De Yang is invincible. The shouting lasted for 2 hours before it ended. This was the reputation that the Great Sun sect had accumulated in the hearts of the people over the years. Perfected De Yang, I'm here. Xiao Changtian waved his hand at the Great Sun Immortal with a faint smile on his face. If Xiao Changtian had seen the Great Sun Jinren make a move before, he would definitely have prostrated himself in worship. This is an invincible martial arts master. However, after spending time with him, he knew that although the Immortal De Yang was powerful, he was amiable and polite. He was a true expert. Senior? The Great Sun Immortal's face lit up as he landed. Perfected De Yang, you are really fierce. Xiao Changtian praised him generously. The Great Sun Immortal broke out in a cold sweat after hearing Xiao Changtian's words. He lowered his head with a smile. In front of Senior he was not even an ant, but Senior actually said that he was fierce. How could the Great Sun Immortal not be afraid? Seeing the embarrassed look on the face of the Great Sun Immortal, Xiao Changtian nodded slightly. The Great Sun Immortal was really humble. Xiao Changtian spoke again. Great Sun Immortal, since you're here, why don't you come to my courtyard and discuss what happened recently? The two of them returned to the courtyard. This is the Great Sun Immortal. Xiao Changtian introduced the Daeong Jinren to the two. After some small talk they got to the main topic. Perfected Great Son, what do you think of the great changes that have occurred in the cultivation world recently? Xiao Changtian asked. Everyone in the small courtyard looked at Perfected De Yang in unison. This? I'm not too sure either. I've been in seclusion recently. The Great Son Immortal hurriedly found an excuse to fool him. The birth of an ancient emperor was not something a puny saint ruler like him could control. Moreover, there were many experts in the courtyard. How could he dare to interrupt? If that's the case, why don't we go out and capture a cultivator? Ask. Xiao Changtian looked at the Great Yang Immortal and asked. Catch? One can't catch it. The Great Sun Immortal was stunned. He had the Nanming Ignis portrait and could kill those great emperors, but how could he capture them? Yeah, catch one. Xiao Changtian smiled. He felt that Immortal De Yang was still pretending. Could it be that the Great Sun Immortal is hiding in the mortal world and playing around? In order not to be disturbed, he disguised himself as such? That must be it. Xiao Changtian thought. Then he nodded in agreement. Since the Great Sun Immortal wanted to pretend to be an expert, he would not expose him. I have a rope here. Just tie anyone up. You're the sect master of a sect. You can't even tie a rookie back, right? Xiao Changtian went back to his room and took out the rope he used to tie people up in his previous life. At the same time, it gave the Great Sun Immortal a way out. After all, he was the sect master. He couldn't possibly not be able to bring back that kind of rookie entry-level cultivator, right? That would be too obvious and too deliberate. Yes. The Great Sun Immortal took the rope and nodded repeatedly. The rookies that Senior was talking about were definitely those great emperors. Only a martial monarch realm expert could make a Senior call him a rookie. He definitely couldn't refuse the task that Senior had given him. The four of you should follow the Great Sun Immortal. Xiao Changtian looked at the four guards. These four were also cultivators. In terms of cultivation, he was definitely inferior to the Great Sun Immortal. The Great Sun Immortal had been modest before. These four people's cultivation levels were above his, so it was definitely fake. However, he could also be an assistant to the Immortal De Yang. Yes, sir. The four of them nodded. Then Taoist Big Sun Mo Xinggu, Xing Tianzi, Gan Tianlei, and Yin Jiangyun left the courtyard to capture the great ancient emperor. How do we catch them? The Great Sun Immortal looked at Mo Xinggu and Xing Tianzi in confusion. These two people were the most senior among the five, so they should have the most methods. Isn't that simple? The four of us will use the trapping formation, and Taoist Big Sun will take the opportunity to tie this person up. Gan Tianlei said disdainfully. He had even beaten up ancient emperors before, let alone kidnap people. Yes. Isn't he just a mere ancient emperor? The others also said disdainfully. That's true. The Great Sun Immortal agreed. Not long ago he had just killed an ancient emperor. Not far away, two ancient emperors were flying through the air. One of them was in a white robe and wielded a sword, while the other had the aura of a scholar. They were Great Emperor Sword River and Great Emperor Wunshan. Five little ants actually dare to look down on the Great Emperor. Are you courting death? Great Emperor Sword River said angrily. Since they dare to say this, they must have some confidence. We just came out, so it's best not to cause trouble. Emperor Wenshu said in a deep voice. Secretary, when did you become so timid? Are you afraid of a few ants? Sword River said loudly. No, these people give me a dangerous feeling. The secretary's face turned solemn. Ha, secretary, you've become more and more timid after so many years. If you don't go, I'll go. Great Emperor Sword River said disdainfully. They were just a few ants. After saying that, Great Emperor Sword River turned into a stream of light and instantly flew toward the Sunny Master and the others. Emperor Wenshu wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Why do one feel like something is going to happen to Sword River? Emperor Wenshu frowned and retreated a few thousand meters subconsciously. He used his spiritual will to observe everything. Very quickly, Great Emperor Sword River arrived in front of Great Sun Immortal and the others. The tyrannical aura around him crushed the Grand Sun Immortal and the others, making it difficult for them to stand. Ancient emperors? The five of them were shocked. I'm Great Emperor Sword River. You guys are too arrogant. Is the Great Emperor someone you can casually talk about? Great Emperor Sword River said angrily. In the fallen emperor era, a great emperor could not be humiliated. If it was before, Great Emperor Sword River would have killed Taoist Big Sun and the others long ago. However, being trapped in the door of antiquity had greatly diminished his killing intent. As long as you apologize to the Emperor, 1 foot 11 inches let you go. Great Emperor Sword River said angrily as he stared coldly at them. Humph, a mere great emperor is nothing. Gan Tianlei was the first to be unconvinced. It was not like he had never beaten up a mere great emperor before. In the past, the great emperor was very terrifying to him, but now... Set up the formation. Gan Tianlei snorted coldly. Then Mo Xinggu, Xing Tianzi, and Yin Jiangyun stood up. The 4 of them turned into 4 afterimages and formed a trapping array, trapping Great Emperor Sword River within. Then 4 pillars of light erupted and shot into the sky. What? Great Emperor Sword River was shocked. He instantly realized that he couldn't move. The vital essence around him froze. Humph, you're the one who's called the Great Emperor. Gan Tianlei harumphed coldly as he threw a punch at Great Emperor Sword River. Ah! Great Emperor Sword River screamed in pain. Emperor Wen Shu, who was watching from afar, was so frightened that he hid even further away. As expected, these people are not simple. Sword River, just you wait. I'll shake him off for you. Don't die before we get here. Emperor Wen Shu turned into a streak of light and fled. Chapter 182 Chapter 182 Ancient Emperors, what are those? I. Chapter 182 Ancient Emperors, what are those? I. The great Sun Immortal took out the rope and tied up Great Emperor Sword River, bringing him back to the small courtyard. Humph, you dare to kidnap me? You dare to hit me? You won't have a good ending. Even if you kill me today and cripple my cultivation, I will not yield. Great Emperor Sword River said firmly. However, just as they arrived at the entrance of the small courtyard, plop! Great Emperor Sword River knelt down. This was because a few extremely powerful auras were enveloping him. Several terrifying figures suddenly appeared in his sea of consciousness. It was a phoenix burning with endless fire. A divine dog that used stars as a chessboard and devoured the sky and moon. An ant that came out of the chaos and shattered space. There was a white tiger that shattered the galaxy, a giant golden dragon that soared through the 9 heavens and made the heavens submit to it, and a giant dragon that was like a dragon. A spiritual monkey that had been created from the heavens and the earth. God, divine beast. Great Emperor Sword River was extremely shocked. These were all legendary divine beasts. The aura of each divine beast was far above his. He felt that the aura of any divine beast could crush him. A tremble that came from the depths of his soul made his legs kneel down naturally. Terrifying. Terrifying. Even the door of antiquity was not as terrifying as this small courtyard. Great Emperor Sword River glanced at the small courtyard from the corner of his eye and took in everything. However, the more he looked, the more shocked he became. He saw a man with no cultivation at all chopping firewood with an axe. However, every time the axe fell, it seemed to be able to cut through the world. Hiss. Great Emperor Sword River couldn't help but gasp. This axe seemed invincible. It made him feel like he was no match for it. A muscular man was cultivating flowers and plants. However, every movement of his seemed to cause the space to distort. Mastery of body refinement? Great Emperor Sword River was even more shocked. Even in the era of Di Luo, no one had reached great success in body refinement. He looked at them one by one, his heart trembling. Fortunately, there are still 2 ordinary people. Great Emperor Sword River sighed. He couldn't understand why so many experts could gather in such a dilapidated small courtyard in a small town. Moreover, he couldn't see the depth at all. Master, have some tea. Fuqian respectfully offered the teacup to Xiao Changtian. Phew, there are finally 2 mortals. Great Emperor Sword River heaved a sigh of relief. However, a voice transmission sounded. Great Emperor Sword River, why are you tied up? The person who sent the message was the Barefoot Emperor. He and Yin Jiofeng had just helped the villagers settle down. Barefoot Emperor, 9-Wind Emperor, it's you too? Come and save me. Great Emperor Sword River was delighted. However, the 2 emperors shook their heads in panic. Great Emperor Sword River, don't resist since you've come here. Confess and nothing will happen to you. The Barefoot Emperor sent mentally. Senior? Great Emperor Sword River was stunned, and his face was filled with shock. How could these 2 call him senior? That was true. Other than those 2 mortals, he could not tell the depth of the other's cultivation. However, while he was still in shock, the 2 emperors walked in and said to Xiao Chang'an, Senior, the python's corpse on the street has been properly disposed of. All right. Xiao Changtian nodded. Great Emperor Sword River saw this. He was completely stunned. What was going on? He could still accept others calling him senior, but calling him mortal senior. Great Emperor Sword River couldn't help but ask. What mortals? Of these two, one was the reincarnation of the human emperor, and the other was the master of the human emperor. Yin Jiufeng hurriedly reminded. The reincarnation of the human emperor? Master of the human emperor? Are you guys mistaken? Great Emperor Sword River was shocked. Human emperor was no joke. That was the #1 human expert that countless emperors worshipped from the bottom of their hearts. We verified that Futian has the Book of Humanity, Yin Jiufeng said again. Human book. Great Emperor Sword River was completely dumbfounded. What was this place? Even Ren Huang had become someone else's disciple, and it seemed that he was the weakest. Secretary, where are you? Come and save me. One promised to listen to you in the future. Great Emperor Sword River was scared stiff. Perfected De Yang, you're back so soon? Xiao Changtian looked at Great Emperor Sword River and asked. Yes. The Great Sun Immortal replied respectfully. Don't be afraid. I'll ask you a few questions. Xiao Changtian looked at Emperor Sword River. Great Emperor Sword River raised his head and instantly felt that the powerful aura had disappeared. The pressure that enveloped his body completely disappeared, and the true essence in his body seemed to circulate again. Yes, sir. Great Emperor Sword River hurriedly nodded. How could he not know that it was because of the senior before him that the terrifying aura disappeared? What's the situation outside now? Are the Monster Clan and Sea Clan still wreaking havoc? Xiao Changtian asked. No. The Monster Race and the Sea Race have long been suppressed by us. Great Emperor Sword River said. In reality, with the birth of the Motherf *Eking Human King, the Motherf *Eking Demon King had naturally appeared as well. The berserk state of the demon race and the sea race had already turned for the better. Is that so? What's the situation in the other continents now? Xiao Changtian asked again. Other continents? Senior, isn't the Tian Yuan continent in the 5 regions? Everything is normal in the other regions. Great Emperor Sword River replied. How many regions? Everyone present, except for the Barefoot Emperor and Yin Jiuyo, looked puzzled. Mu Jiawang's expression changed, and she sent a message instantly. After a short while, a message was sent back. Mu Jiawang's divine sense sensed the message and her expression instantly changed. Not good, not good. Sect Master, something happened. Outside the courtyard, Qingyang ran over in a panic. What a fuss. Don't be rude in front of the small courtyard. The Great Sun Immortal hurriedly berated. There's no need. Qingyang must have some news. Let's hear what Qingyang has to say first. Xiao Changtian waved his hand. Senior Master, something major has happened on the Tianyuan continent. New continents are appearing on the sea outside the 5 continents. They are more than 10 times larger than the 5 continents. Qingyang said hurriedly and handed over a map. Is there such a thing? Xiao Changtian took the map and looked at it. The 5 continents were squeezed at the bottom left corner of the map. New continents appeared one after another, scattered around a huge ocean. Where are the other 3 places? Why are our 5 continents squeezed in the lower left corner? Xiao Changtian pointed at the other 3 marks on the map and asked. Senior, that's another domain. 4-symbol domain, 2 elements domain, first domain. Our 5 continents have become a new domain, called the 5-realm domain. These are the divisions given by the ancient emperors. Qingyang said respectfully. Ancient emperor? Xiao Changtian was stunned. What's that? Chapter 183 Chapter 183 3 days without fighting, is your skin itching again? _I. Chapter 183 3 days without fighting, is your skin itching again? _I. Xiao Changtian's doubtful voice rang out. Everyone present was slightly stunned and didn't know how to answer. Answer the ancient expert. Not suitable. In front of senior, ancient emperors were nothing at all. However, answering a bunch of noobs wasn't the same for them. Everyone was in a dilemma. Could it be someone from the ancient times, the strongest cultivator on the Tianyuan continent? Xiao Changtian suddenly asked. Xiao Changtian asked. In that he had written down from memory, he had written about the great ancient emperor. It was very possible. They were definitely old fellows who had lived for a very long time. They were preparing to revive and reappear. They wanted to conquer the Tianyuan continent. Yes, all right. The great Sun Immortal looked at Xiao Changtian's face and said tentatively. He didn't know if he was right to say that. As expected. Seeing the great Sun Immortal nod, Xiao Changtian was even more certain. However, he did not panic too much because when the great Sun Immortal spoke, he paused for a moment as if he was puzzled. There's no need to think about it. It must be that Taoist De Yang felt that those great emperors were not qualified, so he hesitated. However, in order not to expose his identity as an expert, the immortal De Yang nodded in agreement. Looks like there's nothing to be afraid of. Xiao Changtian analyzed the situation in his mind. His eyes lit up and he was relieved. With the great Sun Immortal around, he was really as stable as Mount Tai. There's nothing to panic about. He's just a martial monarch realm expert. We'll just stay in Dayang town. Xiao Changtian said lightly. He said it for Mu Jiuhuang and the others to hear. The news that the immortal Big Sun was an expert could not be exposed, but he could still comfort everyone. However, the other continents seemed to be under the attack of those great emperors. Qingyang paused for a moment before telling her what he knew. Then let them all come to the northern Barren State. Xiao Changtian said lightly. When he came to the North Barren State, he had the protection of the great Sun Immortal, so he was safe. Go inform the others. The immortal De Yang said to Qingyang. Yes, sir. Qingyang nodded and left. Outside Dayang town, two groups of people were rushing over. The first wave was the old dirty turtle and the fat Rongrong. The other wave was the dozens of great emperors brought by the document. Boss, don't be angry. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Why do you have to be one-sided? You're the Sea King. You can't be defeated by one failure. You're the most handsome and suave. Fatty Rongrong consoled the angry Black Tortoise. How can this Sea King be defeated? Black Tortoise climbed on top of Rongrong's head, weakly saying. Fatty, you really know how to talk. 1 foot 11 inches give you a reward. Black Tortoise patted Fatty Rongrong's head. Instantly, 2 lights lit up on top of Rongrong's head. Hee hee, thank you for making me cuckold, boss. Boss is the kindest person in the world besides Senior. Hee hee, I'm green, I'm going to become stronger. Fatty Rongrong said happily as she flew. Where did this idiot come from? Why are you so happy after being cuckolded? A great emperor said disdainfully as secretary and the others passed by. Haha, a silly bear carrying an ugly green-furred turtle. Haha, I'm dying of laughter. The group of great emperors turned around and saw the turtle and the others. They burst into laughter. What did you say? The dirty old turtle was already in a bad mood, so he was instantly furious when he was scolded. The ugly turtle can talk and it's a turtle demon. Come, stretch your head out for me to see. A great emperor sneered. You want to die. The turtle was enraged. In an instant, the power of the black tortoise erupted, and a huge black tortoise Dharma idol appeared in the void. The black tortoise Dharma idol was level with the sky. The black tortoise's 10 legs were like pillars that supported the sky. Around the black tortoise, boundless seawater poured back as if it wanted to drown the heavens. Kneel before this Sea King. The black tortoise was enraged as it raised its leg and stomped down on the tens of ancient emperors. Boom! The terrifying aura caused these ancient emperors to instantly fall from the sky, kneeling on the ground, smashing out one huge crater after another. Shin, black tortoise. The group of great emperors was already so frightened that they could not speak. They knelt on the ground, unable to move. Senior, please spare us. We didn't mean to offend you. Please forgive us. The secretary hurriedly begged for mercy. A bunch of trash. Take a good look at this Sea King. Is this Sea King an ugly turtle? The black tortoise said angrily. Senior, you are handsome, elegant, tall, and mighty. A great emperor hurriedly said. Right. Senior, you're the most handsome. You're simply the most handsome in the world. Especially your head. So big. That's the envy of everyone. A group of experts said. That's more like it. After Black Tortoise heard this, he withdrew his aura, patting Fatty Rongrong's head. Fatty, let's go. The fat Rongrong nodded and the turtle and bear left again. Only after Black Tortoise and Rongrong left did Emperor Wenshu and the others stare blankly for a full hour before regaining their senses. It's too scary. It's actually the divine beast Black Tortoise. If I'm not mistaken, that bear was that person's mount back then, right? Only his mount was black and white. Are you saying that it's an iron eater? Hiss. The group of great emperors all sucked in a breath of cold air. The birds in the surrounding forest began to suffocate. This is too frustrating. Let's hurry up and save Sword River. At the same time, we'll vent our anger on the person who captured Sword River. Vent? Vent? A group of great emperors shouted and rushed towards the small courtyard with anger on their faces. In the courtyard, Xiao Changtian picked up the brush and started to draw on the paper. In any case, with the great sun immortal here, what ancient emperor? Fuck him. Xiao Changtian was in a good mood now that he knew the changes in the cultivation world wouldn't affect Great Sun Town. In order to thank the immortal De Yang, he decided to make a portrait of him. However, as he was thinking about the appearance of the immortal De Yang, he found it difficult to act because he felt that the immortal De Yang was not like an immortal cultivator at all. His temper was too good. He planned to make some changes to the portrait, making it look angry and stern. Just as Xiao Changtian was thinking, Fatty Rongrong and Black Tortoise tiptoed in. The two of you actually went out to fool around. Xiao Changtian was enraged. What ancient emperor was there outside? If he killed the old turtle with a single slap, wouldn't his path of invincibility be sealed forever? This time Xiao Changtian decided to teach the old turtle a lesson. He picked up the broom beside him and walked towards the old dirty turtle. 3 days without a fight, your skin is itching again? Chapter 184. Chapter 184. Damn turtle, you still dare to run. I. Chapter 184. Damn turtle, you still dare to run. I. I told you to run around. I'll let you fool around all day. I let you lead Rongrong astray all day. Xiao Changtian slapped the turtle's head with his broom. However, the turtle was very fast. It immediately retracted its head to avoid the danger. You still dare to dodge. You green-haired turtle, I'll make you lose a layer of skin today. Xiao Changtian said angrily. He was the one who took care of the old dirty turtle 3 meals a day. He was afraid that he would get drenched in the rain and die from the sun in the summer. Moreover, it took the longest time to support the dirty turtle. But now the old turtle had become the most disobedient one. He had to fight. Hit him hard. Otherwise, if one day he led Rongrong astray, the gains would not make up for the losses. Clang? Xiao Changtian kicked the turtle out of the courtyard. He had tried it before. This dirty old turtle was very hard. No matter if he hit it with a hammer or an axe, nothing would happen. However, Xiao Changtian was really angry today. He couldn't hold it in anymore. Clang. Clang. Black Tortoise was like an iron shell, kicked from the street to the end of the street by Xiao Changtian. In the courtyard no one dared to speak. That can be Senior Xuanwu. In the pond, the golden dragon trembled in fear and dived below the surface of the water. Inside the chicken coop, Phoenix ran back to the chicken coop and squatted on the spot, not daring to move. The pony stopped on a blade of grass as still as a statue. The white tiger was lying on the recliner with its head buried, pretending to be asleep. Monkey had originally wanted to snatch the bamboo shoots away when Fatty Rongrong was eating them and play with them. But now he scratched his hand and stood on the bamboo forest, not knowing what to do. Master is angry. It's too terrifying. Mu Jiahuang shivered. She felt that her entire body was drenched. The barefoot emperor and the others were stunned and gasped. He had originally thought that Senior was an expert, but he did not expect him to be so high. Outside the town, Emperor Secretary brought dozens of people over. Each great emperor had an intimidating aura. They all held their famous weapons and looked fierce. After being bullied by the Black Tortoise, they did not dare to retaliate and were extremely aggrieved. Therefore they were now looking for someone else to take revenge. Humph, I'm going to stab those ants to death when I see them. I want to torture them and make them kill 1,000 turtles every day. No, 10,000. One great emperor after another rushed over angrily. But suddenly a turtle flew out. Senior Black Tortoise? What the fuck? Lord Black Tortoise, please spare my life. I didn't say I would kill the turtle. Lord Black Tortoise, please spare me. Dozens of great emperors knelt down in panic when they saw the turtle. Emperor Floating Feathers, who had threatened to kill the turtle, knelt on the ground, peeing in fear. However, Black Tortoise did not have the time to bother with them. Instead, it ran away in a panic. What's going on? Emperor Wenshu was bewildered. The other great emperors also watched in disbelief as the black tortoise escaped. They clearly felt that the black tortoise seemed to be extremely afraid, as if there was an extremely powerful existence chasing after it. Damn turtle, you still dare to run? Just as the secretary and the others were in shock, Xiao Changtian appeared. He was cursing as he picked up a brick and threw it at the turtle. The turtle ran even faster and turned into the next street. If you run again, I'll stew you. Xiao Changtian cursed and followed him into the next street. Emperor Wen Shu and the others were left dumbfounded. Slap me. Emperor Tiangang tugged at Emperor Wen Shu's clothes. Tiangang, are you crazy? Emperor Wen Shu frowned. I told you to hit me, so you just hit me. Tiangang shouted. Wen Hua frowned and slapped him. All. Heavenly Emperor Tiangang directly lost a tooth from the slap and spat out a mouthful of blood. However, Heavenly Emperor Tiangang was not angry at all. Instead, he laughed out loud. I'm not dreaming. I'm not dreaming. Ah. Along with Heavenly Emperor Qinggang's laughter, dozens of great emperors revealed a look of realization. Everything that had just happened was real. A mortal was chasing after the divine beast black tortoise and beating it up. Hiss. The great emperors gasped again. Then Emperor Wen Shu's incredulous voice rang out, when did such a powerful existence exist on the Tianyuan continent? The group of great emperors knelt for a full 15 minutes before standing up. I've already discovered the aura of Sword River. Let's save Sword River and quickly leave this place. The Emperor of Culture said solemnly. The remaining experts nodded in agreement. This great sun town was too evil. A few 9th-level tribulation transcenders and a Saint King could capture the Sword River. Then there was the divine beast Black Tortoise. Now it was such a powerful existence. They felt that the first half of their lives had been in vain. Let's go. Emperor Wen Shu said in a deep voice. He followed Emperor Sword River's aura and rushed into the courtyard. Hand over the Sword River and I'll spare your lives. You've been surrounded. A few great emperors shouted angrily and instantly occupied the entire courtyard. However, just as they blurted out these two sentences, they regretted it. In the courtyard, Xiao Changtian held the black tortoise by its tail and slowly turned around. Who are you? Xiao Changtian was stunned and frowned. Seeing Xiao Changtian frown, the great emperors knelt down. We were wrong. We won't dare to do it again. We just want to save our companions. Senior, please spare my life. Dozens of great emperors knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. As for the weapon in his hand, it had long fallen to the ground. Xiao Changtian frowned when he heard that they were saving their companions. So you're here to save the Sword River. Xiao Changtian threw the turtle into the pond and nodded. Get up, your companions are fine. Xiao Changtian wiped his hands and asked the secretary and the others to stand up. Secretary, you're here? Great Emperor Sword River walked over with a face full of joy. He was holding a skewer in his hand, and he was swallowing it in large mouthfuls. Are you all right? The secretary and the others were stunned. It's fine. There's food and drink here. The key is that Senior treats me very well. Jenny smiled. I told you not to call me Senior. I'm just a mortal. Xiao Changtian waved his hand. Hee, you are a senior in my heart. Sword River chuckled. Xiao Changtian could only accept it helplessly. It couldn't be helped. In order to curry favor with the reclusive immortal De Yang, these immortal cultivators had even promoted themselves by a generation. Senior, let me introduce you. This is the document. In the courtyard, Sword River introduced them to Xiao Changtian one by one. Meanwhile, in the dark secret chamber, the skeletal masked man summoned the skeleton Sir God again. Chapter 185 Chapter 185 A Storm is Coming, 1. Chapter 185 A Storm is Coming, 1. What is it? But the door of antiquity had already been opened? The skeleton god asked in a low voice. Divine Lord, the door of antiquity has been opened. We can proceed with our next plan. The skull-masked man said. All right. The skeleton Divine Lord nodded. Following that, a black gas spewed out from the floating skull on the table. It was extremely strange. The black gas was erratic, as if there were endless mysteries hidden within it. Frightening. This is a wisp of my aura. Consecrate me. After this is done, I will bring you into the divine world and help you revive your wife. The skeleton Divine Lord said. Yes, sir. The skull-masked man swallowed the black gas without hesitation. Very good. The skeleton god seemed to sense something and nodded. Divine Lord, there is one more thing that one don't know if one should report to you. It concerns the demon god. The man said. Demon god. Upon hearing the words demon god, the skeleton divine lord was clearly stunned for a moment. He was a little shocked. Tell me. Although the demon god was someone who ascended from the lower realm, his strength had improved too quickly. In just a few tens of thousands of years, he had already become an expert of the divine world. Even he, the skeleton god, did not dare to provoke him easily. The skull-masked man said, the demon god clone appeared in the northern wilderness continent. It seemed like it was to kill someone, but the final outcome was unknown. An avatar descending to the lower realm. Alright, one got it. After the skeleton god finished speaking, he muttered to himself and left. In the secret chamber, the skull landed again, and the secret chamber fell into silence again. A black shadow floated around the skull-masked man. What if there's a trick in the skull's aura? Hee, that skull never trusted me. Although that wisp of aura helped me recover my cultivation, it definitely had his spiritual will imprint. If he wanted to kill me, it would be easy. The man said coldly. Sigh, I'm the one who dragged you down. Sighs came from the black shadow. No, if you hadn't protected me back then, I'm afraid that what I destroyed wasn't my face and cultivation, but my life. The man shook his head and his expression turned cold. That skeleton god was the culprit back then. He must die. He planted a mark in my body and thought that one would become his slave. But wasn't he digging his own grave and giving me a chance to devour him? Pass down the order to gather all the great emperors. Today, countless ancient emperors headed to the first domain. On the same day, 10 billion people from the Central Heaven continent, West Bull continent, Southport continent, and East Victory continent all moved to the North Barren continent. So many people. Xiao Changtian was stunned. He didn't expect the other 4 continents to move. Ling, your family is here? Xiao Changtian looked at Xing Linger's family of more than 10,000 people and was shocked. He didn't expect Xing Linger's family to be so huge. Senior. We're here too. Tang Ritian, Chu Kuangren, Kong Xiang, Shengguan Shui Shui. A total of IO billion people moved into the Northern Barren continent. Perfected Great Sun, your Great Sun sect can't rest for the time being. You must make proper arrangements for mortals and cultivators. Xiao Changtian looked at Taoist Master De Yang. There were many immortal cultivators and mortals, and it was very easy for immortal cultivators to bully others. Then what do you think we should do if this happens? The Great Sun Immortal asked. Xiao Changtian thought for a moment and said, in troubled times, severe punishments should be imposed. If any cultivator dares to cause trouble, they will be expelled from the North Barren state along with their sect. If the circumstances were serious, the sect would be destroyed as well. Hiss. Exterminate the sect. Hearing this, the sect leaders present immediately felt a chill on their backs, as if a knife was placed on their necks. Yes, sir. The Great Sun Immortal nodded. This order was like a tidal wave that instantly spread. Countless sect leaders directly ordered that no cultivator was allowed to leave the sect without an order. In the Great Sun sect, a huge mountain peak towered into the clouds. The sun dyed the clouds red. In the main hall, Xiao Changtian, perfected Dayang, perfected Qing Yun, perfected Zhong Xian, and the deputy sect leaders of the various large sects were gathered together. It was extremely lively. As for those sect leaders, they could not come personally because they wanted to maintain their mortal persona. This, 1 a.m. just a mortal, participating in the discussion of matters between you cultivators, isn't it not very good? Xiao Changtian looked at the Great Sun Immortal and asked. Taoist Master De Yang was stunned by this question. He did not know how to answer this question. Immortal? Oh, that's true. On the surface. The experts who were originally discussing how to fight against Ancient Emperor also quieted down. Wasn't it precisely because Senior was here that they had the strength to fight against Ancient Emperors? Otherwise, with their tribulation transcending strength, how could they possibly contend against Ancient Emperors? However, no one dared to say anything because their sect master had instructed them not to expose their senior's identity. Otherwise they would offend their senior. Xiao Changtian looked at the silent crowd, nodded and stood up. Then I'll leave. He carried the white tiger and prepared to leave. It was indeed inappropriate for an ordinary mortal like him to be present when cultivators were discussing matters. When the great sun immortal saw this, he quickly stood up and stopped Xiao Changtan. You should be able to give us a reference. This is also the reason why one invited you here. Yes. That's right. It's like this. The vice sect leaders present echoed. Really? I don't believe it. Xiao Changtian shook his head. He was just a mortal. Even if he was used as a reference, there was no practical value. Xiao Changtian shook his head and decided to leave. He couldn't participate in the decision-making with the Great Sun Immortal just because he had a good relationship with the Great Sun Immortal. In the small courtyard, the black tortoise stayed in its place and dived into the pond. After being beaten up by Xiao Changtian, he no longer dared to come out. Fatty Rongrong was also curled up in a corner, her head against the wall, her two claws placed together, silent and untired. The nearby monkey scratched his ears and cheeks, originally planning to tease Fatty Rongrong, but didn't expect the Iron Eater to stop moving. Mu Jiahuang, on the other hand, was discussing various matters with Shangguan Shuai and the others. Yi Fan was chopping firewood while Lin Tingji was wiping her sweat at the side. Jiang Beichen and Diwu Zheng continued to exchange blows with their swords. Li Taibai was supporting Bai Ling Shuang. He looked at Bai Ling Shuang's slightly bulging belly and his face was filled with happiness. Su Daji was working hard to cultivate her tail. Meanwhile, Lin Ruomiao was cultivating the heaven blade in her room. At this moment she was holding the black dagger from before. With just one slash, the entire space emitted waves of wind-breaking sounds as if space was being torn apart. Everything went on as usual. However, outside of Great Sun Town, a dozen great emperors were heading toward Great Sun Town. Coincidentally, Xiao Changtian came to take a walk outside Great Sun Town. Chapter 186 Chapter 186, Xiao Changtian Attacks, One Punch 4. Chapter 186, Xiao Changtian Attacks, One Punch 4. 1_I. Barefooted. Those useless people from Sword River were defeated by the ants of this era. They're a disgrace to our great emperor's circle. He's just a first-grade great emperor. He must have been arrogant and underestimated his enemy, falling into someone else's trap. Hey, there are more than 10 little ants in the Tribulation Transcendence realm here. Let's have fun. The great emperors looked at the group of experts from the Nine Phoenix dynasty, including Marshal Shangguan and Zhang Fenglei, who were standing guard outside Daong town, with mocking expressions on their faces. Who is it? Seeing the dozen great emperors walking over, Shangguan immediately spoke up to stop them. The pressure released by the great emperors made Shangguan Shuai and the others shiver. You're merely transcending a tribulation. Why don't you kneel down in front of the great emperor? A great emperor covered in red hair walked out and released the pressure of a great emperor. In an instant, Shangguan Shuai and the others knelt down in front of this pressure. Damn it, quickly asked the empress for help. Shangguan Shuai looked at the wind lightning palm, but it had already been knocked to the ground. A bunch of trash. In our era, not kneeling in front of the great emperor was a death penalty. The red-haired emperor kicked Shangguan Shuai in the chest, sending him flying like a kite with its string cut. Damn it. Shangguan Shuai cursed in his heart. He was furious, but he wasn't a match for the great emperor. A bunch of ants courting death. You guys are too weak, ha ha ha. The martial monarch realm expert sneered, filled with mockery and disdain. Shangguan Shuai and the others could only be beaten up passively. Screams of pain were heard by Xiao Changtian, who was out for a walk. Shuai's voice. Xiao Changtian was stunned. He walked over with the white tiger in his arms and saw Shangguan Shuai and the others being beaten. Fuck. Marshal Shangguan and the others can't even lift a bow, and these people are picking on the weak ones? Xiao Changtian was furious. Mingxi, don't move here. Watch how Master will uphold justice. Xiao Changtian put down the white tiger and walked towards the great emperors. He couldn't take it anymore. All mortals? Why should mortals make things difficult for mortals? All of them were as thin as a stick, not much worse than Shangguan Shuai and the others. At most, they were just a little stronger than Shangguan Shuai, but they were actually bullying the weak. He was a martial arts skill that had been enhanced by the system. It was not a problem to deal with these mortals. You're looking for a beating. Xiao Changtian rolled up his sleeves and threw a punch at the red-haired emperor. Bang! The red-haired emperor was sent flying. Noob! Xiao Changtian thought that these people would resist for a while, but he didn't expect that he would send them flying with one punch. Sure enough, it's a group of noobs. Xiao Changtian smacked his lips. He no longer had any scruples. Bajiquan Taiji. Fist, military boxing, young girl's cute fist. All kinds of fist techniques were combined together. Bang 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 bang. The remaining 10 or so great emperors were sent flying like clay chickens and pottery dogs. Bullying people with your little squares? Xiao Changqian's face was filled with anger. Bullying people right under his nose, this was not allowed. In his opinion, the abusers must be severely punished so that they could feel the fear of being abused. Only then would they realize how much harm they had done to others. Therefore Xiao Changtian chose to beat him up. However, just as Xiao Changtian was about to beat them up, he realized that the red-haired emperor had already fainted. Why aren't these people getting beaten? Xiao Changtian was confused. Shengguan Shuai Shuai and the others twitched their mouths. Senior, don't you know your own strength? Who among the bunch of noobs on the other side could withstand your full-powered punch? Are you guys cramping? Xiao Changtian looked at Shengguan Shuai and the others who were twitching their mouths, his face filled with confusion. Yes, yes. Shengguan Shuai Shuai and the others replied with a toothache. Senior was so good at pretending. He seemed to be beating Senior up, but he couldn't beat him. All right, tie up these dozens of people and bring them back to the small courtyard. When they wake up, I want to teach them a lesson. Xiao Changtian said lightly. Yes. Shengguan Shuai Shuai and the others could only nod. Very quickly. Everyone returned to the courtyard. As for the 15 rank 5 great emperors, they were immediately woken up by the cold blood. Oh, don't hit me. I was wrong. Oh, Senior, please spare us. We were wrong. Please don't kill us. The red-haired emperor and the others cried out, their faces filled with fear. The fist from before was really too terrifying. Right now they still felt that their entire brain, bones and divine essence were all aching faintly. This pain started from the point of impact and extended like a net. This pain made them feel that every nerve and every blood vessel in their bodies was in excruciating pain. Even his divine essence experienced intense pain. Fortunately, this wasn't a full-powered attack. They could feel that this was just a casual move by this senior. One won't kill you, but you must receive a good education. That's why I attacked you. Let me ask you, will you still attack the weak in the future? Xiao Changtian stared at the red-haired emperor and asked in a deep voice. We won't, senior. We won't dare to do it again. Yes, yes, yes. Bullying the weak is something that only people who are inferior to pigs and dogs do. Senior, we have already received your good education. We swear to the heavens that if one red fur ever attack the weak again, I will strike them with 5 lightning strikes. The group of great emperors knelt on the ground, their faces filled with terror. Xiao Changtian shook his head. No, you don't really understand. You're just afraid of me. You're not convinced from the bottom of your heart. Senior, we're really convinced. Red Fur cried. He immediately cried. As the famous red-haired emperor, he immediately cried. It was too terrifying. Facing Xiao Changtian, he was indescribably terrifying. He could kill them with just a casual punch. If they still dared to refuse, weren't they courting death? Senior, why don't you tell us what you want us to do? Just say it. The red-haired emperor cried. It's very simple. Do 100 good deeds and I'll believe you. Xiao Changtian said lightly. 100 good things? The great emperors were in a dilemma. They were dignified martial monarch realm experts. If they were asked to do good deeds. Senior, I'm good at this. The red-haired emperor hurriedly said. Yes, yes, yes. We can do it. The other great emperors nodded in agreement. The group of great emperors begged for mercy crazily in the courtyard. In front of the door of antiquity, a black figure suddenly appeared. It was the man with the skull mask from before. Come out. It's already this time, and the 3 of you are still not prepared to come out. Chapter 187 Chapter 187 5-Party Alliance, Great Sun Alliance Masterly. Chapter 187 5-Party Alliance, Great Sun Alliance Masterly. Hehe, who exactly are you? How did you discover our existence? Behind the door of antiquity, 3 muffled voices rang out. Then, 3 figures slowly walked out from behind the ancient door. Among them, a woman wearing a long blue dress and holding a jade belt in her hand appeared. Her expression was cold, as if she wanted to keep people 1,000 miles away. However, she had to admit that this person was very beautiful. It was so beautiful that it couldn't be compared to anything else. Behind the woman, a minotaur with 2 legs on his forehead and an expert with black chi wrapped around his body walked out from behind the door of antiquity. Heaven Queen, Demon Emperor, Devil Emperor, how long do you 3 want to hide it? The skull-masked man said indifferently. There was a hint of mockery in his tone. You know who we are. Who are you? The Heaven Queen's voice was icy cold. Her beautiful brows were tightly knitted, and her piercingly cold eyes seemed to have endless killing intent pouring out. Very few people know our identities. Who are you back then? The Shifter Emperor's figure flashed and appeared behind the skull-masked man. I can't explain it clearly today, but I can't leave. The Demon Emperor's entire body was suffused with black chi, and his aura was terrifying. The Heaven Queen, the Demon Emperor, and the Demon Emperor surrounded the man in the skeleton mask. The aura that erupted from the 3 of them caused countless monstrous waves to erupt from the surrounding sea. Bang 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 bang. The terrifying power was like a clap of thunder, and it was like a landslide. The auras of these 3 people were like the difference between heaven and earth when compared to those ancient emperors. Their strength wasn't something those ancient emperors could compare to. Even so, the skull-masked man stood in the middle with a calm expression on his face. One could not feel the slightest change in his aura. However, a wisp of sword intent slowly appeared around him. It was the sword intent condensed from the black chi. The sword intent let out a clanging sound, as if it was piercing through the clouds and splitting rocks, instantly slashing towards the 3 people. Boom! The door of the ancients, which was originally in ruins, was completely destroyed by the battle between the 4 of them. The ground was thousands of feet deep. The terrifying power caused the space to be compressed until it emitted cracking sounds. 2 hours later, the 4 of them landed. Everyone's aura had completely calmed down, and their faces were calm. Heaven Queen, Demon Emperor, and Demon Emperor looked at the skeletal man and asked, "What do you want us to do for you?" The 3 of them stood in front of the masked man, their eyes filled with guilt. "I want to kill a god. That god from back then." The skull-masked man's tone finally became excited. "What?" After the 3 of them heard this, they were obviously stunned for a moment. Their faces were filled with shock. Even the Heaven Queen's beautiful face was moved. In the Great Sun Sect's main hall, the final result of their discussion was to form the 5-party alliance to fight against the other 3 regions. As for the candidate for the alliance leader, I think that the position of the alliance leader must be held by the Great Sun Immortal. Perfected Qing Yun hurriedly shook his head. He was only a Saint King now. How could he become the leader of a group of 9th-level tribulation transcenders? No way. This was absolutely impossible. Perfected De Yang, you have to do this. No one else can replace you. Taoist Zhongxin said. The other experts all nodded. That's right. In Senior's eyes, you're the true cultivator, and we're just a few cultivators who have just entered the sect. Not only that, you've become the alliance leader of our 5-region alliance, and you'll also be able to obtain the deployment strategy of the Righteous Tao Alliance from Senior, as well as the following plans. Yes, this is the most important thing. If we can get the support of Senior, we can defeat those great emperors. Otherwise, we will definitely lose. That's why, Taoist Master De Yang, only you can do this. I won't say anything else. Greetings, Alliance Master of Great Sun. Greetings, Alliance Master of Great Sun. The group of experts who were transcending the tribulation stood up and bowed to the Great Sun Immortal. The Great Sun Immortal was stunned. He, a Saint King, was the Alliance Master. It didn't make sense, right? Perfected De Yang, do you want us to kneel before you agree? Alright, everyone listen to my command. Prepare to kneel. 3-2, Perfected Qing Yun shouted. I promise, one promise, okay? The Great Sun Immortal hurriedly agreed. If he did not agree, these big shots would really kneel down to him. He was just a mere Saint King. If he really made these tribulation-transcending elders kneel down to him, it would be a waste of his lifespan. The Great Sun Immortal agreed helplessly. Alright, let's go and report to Senior now. Perfected Qing Yun and Perfected De Yang left the hall and headed to Xiao Changtian's courtyard. The moment he entered, in front of Xiao Changtian, there were more than 10 great emperors kneeling. They were all trembling and listening to Xiao Changtian's lecture. Senior is really invincible, reprimanding an emperor is like reprimanding a child. Taoist Big Sun and Taoist Clear Sky both gasped in shock, their faces filled with terror. Ancient emperors were once forbidden existences. In fact, in order to resist these ancient emperors, they even established the Five-Realm Alliance. Can we disband now? The Great Sun Immortal said awkwardly. Perfected Qing Yun, who was beside him, also opened his mouth in a daze. He seemed to think that the biggest reason why they formed this alliance was to do odd jobs and manage logistics. Sai Taoist Master Dayang? You're here? And Qing Yun, come and sit. Xiao Changtian saw Perfected Dayang and Perfected Qing Yun, so he quickly sat up from the recliner and greeted them. One of them was a reclusive mighty figure, and the other was a generous boss. They gave him a good impression. The few of you, go and stand in a row outside the small courtyard. Whoever dares to run, one will definitely let him understand why flowers are so red when I see him in the future. Xiao Changtian clenched his fists. Yes, yes, yes. The great emperors hurriedly nodded and stood up. They ran out of the courtyard like primary school students being reprimanded by their teacher. They pressed their heads against the wall and hugged their heads as they lined up in a row at the corner of the wall. Shengguan Shuai and the others who were being abused felt great. Oh right, why did you call me here? Xiao Changtian asked. The three of them sat down at the stone table. Mu Jiahuang, who was beside him, handed him tea one by one, extremely respectful. We. The immortal De Yang and the Qing Yun Taoist looked at each other, not knowing what to say. There was no need for the five-party alliance to exist. How should he explain it to Senior? Just as the two of them were confused, Xiao Changtian said, Have you formed an alliance? Now he was preparing to deal with those ancient emperors? Chapter 188 Chapter 188, Ordinary People Should Do Their Part Tool L. Chapter 188, Ordinary People Should Do Their Part Tool L. It's in the middle of the realm. The perfected De Yang had no choice but to bite the bullet and agree. Since Senior had already said so, it wouldn't be good to refuse to admit it. That's great. Since you've formed an alliance, the alliance leader must be you, Taoist Great Sun, right? Xiao Changtian continued to ask. In his opinion, the Great Sun Immortal was a reclusive master, but at the critical moment of the continent, the reclusive master could not hide his identity. As long as the immortal De Yang exposed his strength, he would definitely become the alliance master. Yes. The Great Sun Immortal nodded again. Congratulations, Alliance Master of the Great Sun Alliance. Xiao Changtian said happily. He knew the Alliance Master of the Immortal Cultivator Alliance, so he was safe now. Well, although I'm just a mortal, since you've established the alliance, I should do something. How about this? I'll cheer for the cultivators of our alliance. I'm a drummer, a very good drummer. Xiao Changtian said lightly. He wasn't good at fighting. He was just a mortal, he could only uphold justice for Shengguan Shuai and the others, and teach the rookies outside the door a lesson. However, it was still possible to boost the morale of the Immortal Cultivators Alliance. He had the system's great success music skill. Cheering on the battlefield? Drummer? Thank you, Senior. Perfected Qing Yun hurriedly thanked him. Previously, he had broken through while practicing divine sound because he had listened to the Chaos Ant song. The song contained a terrifying great Tao true intent. The Chaos Ant is Senior's divine beast, so its attainments are definitely inferior to Senior's. If it was Senior personally beating the drum to help, it would definitely contain the sound of the great Tao. The voice of the great Tao fell. The cultivators of the five-party alliance seem to be blessed by God. No. Senior has already surpassed God. Perfected Qing Yun thought to himself. No need, no need. The help I can give you is limited. Where are you going first? It'll be easier for me to prepare. Xiao Changtian asked. Under his bed was the big drum that had transmigrated with him in his previous life. It was a good time to try it out in the next few days. Battle? The Great Sun Immortal was stunned. They had formed an alliance just to avoid being attacked. They had never thought of fighting. Perfected Qing Yun hurriedly said, The 4 symbols region, the nearest 4 symbols region. 4 symbol regions? Xiao Changtian picked up the map and looked at it. The 4 symbol region was at the bottom right of the map, which was the closest to the 5 region. Inform me when the time is up. Xiao Changtian said directly. Good. Perfected De Yang and Perfected Qing Yun nodded. 2 hours later. After drinking tea and reporting their work, Perfected De Yang and Perfected Qing Yun walked out of the small courtyard with joy on their faces. With the support of the seniors, wouldn't it be easy? The two of them were overjoyed and returned to the Great Sun sect to spread the news. In the courtyard, Xiao Changtian gathered his disciples. You guys should also prepare for the upcoming battle. Although we are mortals, we still have to contribute our strength. Yi Fan, you're in charge of the logistics of the alliance. Miao Shou, you are in charge of treating the simple injuries of the cultivators and assisting the alchemists. Beichen, Wu Jing, the two of you have talent in cultivation and can use the sword. Since your cultivation has made some progress, you can train at the edge of the battlefield and clean up some small fish and prawns. Tai Bai, you're about to become a father, so you'll be in charge of intelligence work. Don't get involved in dangerous situations. As for Daji and Ruomiao, the two of you will follow me. Futian, you are full of energy, so you serve tea and water to the cultivators. If any cultivator is tired, you massage their shoulders and legs. We are the ones being protected, but we can't just sit there and do nothing. In front of us, Taoist Big Sun and the others are fighting for us, so we have to contribute our strength. End quote. Do you understand? Xiao Changtian said solemnly. Although he was a mortal who was harmed by the system, as a member of the flower family in his previous life, the passion, righteousness, and fearlessness of the flower family still infected him. It did not weaken with the cruelty of the immortal cultivation world. There was no man who wasn't hot-blooded. Even as a mortal, as an ordinary person, he had to contribute his strength. He could not remain indifferent and hide behind heroes like the immortal of Great Sun. Yes, sir. Yi Fan and the others saw the seriousness in Xiao Changtian's expression and replied in unison. All right, you can go and prepare yourselves. Let's go inside. Xiao Changtian called Mu Jiahuang and was about to take out the big drum under the bed. Yes. Mu Jiahuang followed him into the house. The two of them called out and carried the big drum out. It was a Xianhua drum. The drum was engraved with the black tortoise, qilin, phoenix, white tiger, azure dragon, and other divine dragons. All of them were carved in gold and looked lifelike. It was extremely intimidating. The edges were inlaid with the pearls of 7 colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple were shining brightly. The surface of the drum was like a bright mirror, shining brightly. The zoo curator had spent a lot of money to buy it, but it was later abandoned and became his. Green-haired turtle, look at the black tortoise on top of you. How impressive is it? Look at you, you're so ugly. Xiao Changtian smacked his lips. This green-furred turtle was doing nothing but work every day, while he was serving him well every day. He was even happier than he was. If it wasn't for the path of invincibility, he would have chopped the green-haired turtle up and made soup. Turtle soup was a great tonic. Puff, puff, puff. In the pond, the green-haired turtle didn't dare to speak. It dived into the water and kept blowing bubbles. For symbol regions. The group of Motherf *eking human kings, the monster race's monarch, the oceanic race's monarch, and the demon race's monarch who had just crawled out of the ground were all listening to the Heaven Queen, the monster emperor, and the demon monarch's lecture. In these 3 days, everyone will recuperate and recover their strength to the peak. There is an expert in the 5-region domain. We are going to fight a tough battle. We'll take down the 5 regions and merge the 4 regions to restore the original Tianyuan continent. We'll have a god monarch to guide us and ascend to the divine realm. The Heaven Queen said coldly. When the great emperors heard the word, ascendance, their faces revealed looks of surprise. That was the lifelong pursuit of every great emperor. Fight. Fight. Quote. Fight. The shouts of the group of great emperors caused the surface of the sea to tremble. The skull-masked man sat cross-legged in the dark chamber. A black rusty short sword floated around him. His realm seemed to be rising continuously. 10-mile sword, after so many years, we will be fighting together again. This time, when we take down the 5 region, the Tianyuan continent will be united and we'll have great luck. That skeleton god will definitely come down to snatch it. At that time it will be our chance. The skeletal man said indifferently. The broken and rusty short sword seemed to be resonating and trembling. Chapter 189 Chapter 189 Playing in the Sky, Xiaolong Nu pushed to the ground. _I. Chapter 189 Playing in the Sky, Xiaolong Nu pushed to the ground. _I. Night fell. Snoring sounds came from Xiao Changtian's room. A rustling sound came from Yi Fan's room. Li Taibai's room was relatively quiet. As for Lin Ruomiao, she was still cultivating the sky blade with the dagger in her hand. In her room, countless blade shadows seemed to be cutting through space. In the courtyard, the green-haired turtle finally surfaced. "Haha, ugly turtle, you were beaten up by master, right?" Phoenix puffed out her chest and stared at the turtle in the pond, gloating. "Humph, Phoenix, one don't have time for you right now." The turtle rolled his eyes. He was in a bad mood. If Phoenix dared to mock him again, he would definitely fight with her. The golden arowana turned over and straightened its body. "All right, Phoenix. Do you want to be beaten up if you wake master up later?" After being reminded by the golden arowana, Phoenix shivered and quickly returned to the chicken coop. "Fatty, let's go out and relax." Black Tortoise flew to the head of Rongrong. Sob, sob. Fatty Rongrong nodded, flying out with Black Tortoise. As for Alpha, he was still studying chess on the ground. Monkey scratched his head and felt a little bored. He shot out from the bamboo forest and flew out as well, sitting on the shell of the green-haired turtle. "Damned monkey, you dare to ride on this sea king's body? Are you courting death?" The Black Tortoise was furious. A huge black tortoise Dharma idol instantly appeared in the void. Monkey scratched his head, revealing a smile coming down from the turtle's shell, squeezing the green-haired turtle to the side, one on the left and the other on the right of Fatty Rongrong's head. "The Tianyuan continent isn't fun at all." Monkey raised his middle finger and pointed at the sky. "Heaven?" Fatty Rongrong was startled. "It's not impossible, there are more beautiful ladies up there, it'll help me regain my confidence, hee. The old dirty turtle smiled again. "Let's do it this way." Monkey nodded and reached his paw into his ear. A silver needle-like object appeared. "Watch me poke a hole in you." Monkey grabbed the silver needle and aimed it at a certain place in the sky. Fatty Rongrong looked puzzled. "What can I do?" "Humph, what do you know?" Monkey chuckled. He stroked the silver needle with his hand. As he stroked it, the silver needle became bigger and thicker. In the blink of an eye, it had already become a sky-high spider pillar. The monkey grabbed the sky-supporting pillar with both hands and stabbed it into a certain spot in the void. Boom! In the void, the laws of heaven and earth seemed to have been sensed. Tens of thousands of lightning tribulations began to appear and were about to strike down. "Go to hell." The turtle slapped him. A green light flew out leisurely. However, this green light seemed to be a supreme law. The lightning tribulation in the sky collapsed in an instant. "Damn, Fatty, charged towards that crack." Monkey patted Fatty Rongrong's head. "Humph, boss Black Tortoise," he scolded me. "I'm an iron eater, I'm fat, I'm not a fatty." Fatty Rongrong said aggrievedly. "All right, you charge up first. Once you get up there, I'll teach this damn monkey a lesson for you." The turtle rubbed Fatty Rongrong's head, a green light descending, enveloping Fatty Rongrong's entire body. "Hee, thank you, boss." Fatty Rongrong was delighted, her figure dashing towards the gap in the void. In an instant, Fatty Rongrong charged in with the green-haired turtle and monkey. "Who is it?" In the immortal world, in a valley, two cultivators were hurrying on their way. Suddenly, they saw a black shadow flying over with a vigilant expression. "Senior brother, look carefully." "What was that thing that just flew over?" The woman in the light yellow dress frowned and asked. Upon closer inspection, the woman was tall and slender, with proper facial features. Most importantly, her peaks were like waves, making one's imagination run wild and unable to grasp them. "It seems to be a monster? Junior sister, let's run. Don't worry about this. The people from Black Knight Sect are coming." Senior brother Long Ming said. Xiao Longnu nodded, and the two of them disappeared into the forest. The two of them were the Holy Maiden and eldest senior brother of the Sanluo Immortal Continent's White Dragon clan. In the current Sanluo Immortal Continent, the dragon race had declined. Even their patriarch, Long Outyin, had gone into hiding after being severely injured by a divine lord. Now, a mere flood dragon race dared to bully their dragon race. The young master of the Black Flood Dragon sect even tried to get his hands on Xiao Longnu. Helpless, the vice clan leader Long Zhantian could only let her escape. Not far away, the dragon race was chasing after them. There were hundreds of them, and each of them emitted a powerful aura that was extremely mysterious. "Humph, they can't have gone far." One of the elders raised his hand, signaling for everyone to stop. Then he took out a crystal ball. The image of Xiao Longnu and Long Ming appeared on the crystal ball. "Hee, the two of them are heading towards Skybreaking Peak. We'll head there directly." The elder sneered and stuck out his snake tongue. "Elder, how did you do this?" The dragon race disciple beside him asked in confusion. If he could find someone with just a crystal ball, then wouldn't he be the one plucking the radish on the bed? "Humph, it's naturally something that the young master left behind. We'll just slowly head over and not ruin the young master's plans." The elder laughed sinisterly. "Young master." The servant next to him was slightly stunned, but then he reacted. "Elder, do you mean that Long Ming is young master in disguise?" the servant asked. "Of course. All right, let's move forward slowly. Don't ruin young master's plans." Understanding the crux of the matter, the disciple nodded in disappointment. Young master sure knows how to play. The night is dark and the wind is high. A man and a woman are alone. Hee hee hee. On the other side, Xiao Longnu and Long Ming were running at high speed. However, Long Ming suddenly fell behind and shot 2 silver needles at Xiao Longnu's back. Ah! Xiao Longnu felt the pain and screamed, but her body could no longer move. Because of inertia, the beautiful divine item fell to the ground. "Senior brother, what are you doing?" Xiao Longnu frowned and asked in confusion. "What?" "Of course I want to spend the night with you and have an in-depth conversation." Long Ming smiled lewdly. Then he tore off his human skin mask and instantly became a different person. "Snake blood, is that you? You're not my senior brother." Xiao Longnu was shocked, and a wave of fear surged in her heart. "Hee, I'm not your senior brother, but I'm going to be your husband soon, hee." Snake blood let out a sinister sneer and walked over. He grabbed Xiao Longnu's legs. At the same time, Fatty Rongrong was currently flying with 2 divine beasts on her back. "Wait a minute." Black Tortoise grabbed Fatty Rongrong's ear, and the iron-eating beast stopped in time. "What's wrong, damn turtle? There's a big demon in front of us. Go and have some fun." Monkey said impatiently. Go by yourself. What's so fun about a big demon? Fatty, let's go back. One really want to see a beautiful woman with great ambitions. This Sea King wants to conquer her quickly." Chapter 190. Junior sister, I'll block the old filthy turtle for you, run. _I. Chapter 190. Junior sister, I'll block the old filthy turtle for you, run. _I. Oh, no. Xiao Longnu's legs were grabbed. Snake blood immediately took off her shoes and socks. Hee, these legs are really beautiful. Snake blood caressed Xiao Longnu's feet lewdly. Hee, itchy, so itchy. Don't scratch my foot. Xiao Longnu's feet were touched and she let out a bell-like smile. Hee, Xiao Longnu, are you comfortable? I'll make you more comfortable. I'm very brave. Snake blood snickered evilly. He pointed out with his finger and Xiao Longnu's outer clothing was torn apart, revealing her snow-white figure that could not be described. Humph, I won't let you off even if one become a ghost. Xiao Longnu gritted her teeth as 2 streams of tears fell from the corners of her eyes. Her eyes were filled with anger. Hee, become a ghost? You're so smooth, I'll make you become an immortal in a while. Snake blood sneered and pounced at Xiao Longnu. Xiao Longnu could only close her eyes in despair. The 2 silver needles had completely sealed the true essence around her body. She wanted to resist, but she couldn't move at all. An extremely cold despair surged into her heart. Help! However, a trace of unwillingness still welled up in her heart. She could not help but shout, wanting to make a final call for help. Hee, scream. Even if you scream until your throat breaks, ah. Snake blood was originally sneering, but a huge force slapped the back of his head. Snake blood was hit hard and rolled away. Junior sister Feng, get up quickly. Long Ming followed behind them. He broke free from the snake blood and quietly followed behind the elders of Black Knight sect. He took the opportunity to sneak over when the elders let down their guard. Long Ming helped Xiao Longnu up and forced the 2 silver needles out of her body. Then he took out a piece of clothing and put it on Xiao Longnu. Junior sister, quickly follow me. Long Ming brought Xiao Longnu and was about to leave. However, Snake Blood would not let them off so easily. Although he was heavily injured by Long Ming and was lying on the ground, he still crushed the jade token in his hand. Young master has been born? When the elders on the periphery received the message, their expressions instantly changed. Their figures flashed as they rushed over to Snake Blood. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. In the next moment, the elders and disciples of Black Knight sect instantly descended. They formed a huge circle and surrounded Long Ming and Xiao Longnu. Young master. The elder helped Snake Blood up. Humph, you dare to sneak attack me? Hit him. Beat him to death. Snake Blood spat out a mouthful of blood and cursed angrily. The Black Knight sect disciple beside him grabbed Long Ming and pressed him to the ground to beat him up. Ah! Long Ming let out a shrill cry from the beating. In just a few seconds the sound of bones breaking could be heard. Although the dragon race had a strong body, the Black Knight sect disciples all had profound realms and powerful cultivation bases. Senior brother. Xiaolongnu wanted to go up and help when she saw Long Ming being beaten up. However, it was blocked by the Snake Blood. Hee Xiaolongnu, if you don't want that idiot Long Ming to die here today, then serve me to my heart's content. Otherwise I'll let Long Ming know what it means to live a life worse than death. Snake Blood sneered as he stared at Xiaolongnu with a pair of lewd eyes. You? Xiaolongnu bit her lips, her face filled with shame and anger. Hit him harder. Snake Blood sneered. Yes, young master. The disciples of Black Knight sect nodded and worked even harder. Long Ming's pained screams sounded like a pig being slaughtered. Xiaolongnu heard Long Ming scream and bit her lips helplessly. Haha, then let's settle this in the wild. Snake Blood laughed and waved his hand, signaling the elder of Black Knight sect to take Long Ming away. Yes. The elder of Black Knight sect brought Long Ming down. The Snake Blood forced the little dragon girl into a corner. A faint evil light burst out from his eyes. He could not hold it in any longer. He immediately turned into a divine beast and was about to grab Xiaolongnu's neck. Xiaolongnu could only close her eyes and quietly wait for the tragic fate that was about to come. However, in the next moment, a ray of green light shot over. Bang! The snake's blood rolled out like a cannonball, hitting the mountain beside him. His entire body pierced through the mountain cave, creating a human-shaped tunnel. After that, Snake Blood died. Damn it, someone actually dares to use force on the beauty that this Sea King has taken a fancy to? This Sea King always conquers the heart of a beauty first, understand? The turtle cursed. Luckily he had come. If he had been a step late, the beauty would have been defiled by this scumbag. Boss, this is a scumbag. How can he compare to you, Sea King? Fatty Rongrong praised. Not bad, Fatty. You're very sensible. The turtle rubbed the fat Rongrong's head. Sob, sob. Fatty Rongrong happily nodded. What is it? Where's young master? The elders and disciples of the Black Knight sect heard the loud noise and hurriedly ran back. However, all he could see was a cold corpse. Young master is dead. The Black Knight sect elder was shocked. That's right, this Xia actually dared to bully the beauty that this Sea King has taken a fancy to. He's courting death, the turtle said angrily. Humph, you ugly turtle, you dare to kill our young master just because you have a little cultivation? The Black Knight sect elder shouted, and the divine empress huge serpent phantom appeared. Her entire body leaned forward 45 degrees, and a huge hurricane erupted around her. He was furious and charged at the turtle. Tisk, that's it. My boss doesn't even need to do anything. One thought the people from the upper realm were more powerful. Fatty Rongrong disdainfully raised her middle finger, then slapped him. Pa! The elder of Black Knight sect was directly slammed into the ground. As for the remaining Black Knight sect disciples, when they saw this scene, they cried out in horror, "Run!" They threw down the dragon sea in their hands and fled instantly. But how could Fatty Rongrong let them run? Phew! Only to see Fatty Rongrong opening her bloody mouth, revealing those bright white teeth like sharp swords, instantly swallowing the Black Knight sect disciple. Bah, it's not delicious. Fatty Rongrong ridiculed. The dirty old turtle didn't care about this. He stared at Xiaolongnu with a lecherous look and picked a wildflower. Beauty, shall we admire the moon together tonight? Reward, moonlight. Xiaolongnu was shocked. She looked at the ugly old turtle in front of her and felt a chill in her heart. Could it be that he had escaped the snake's blood, but would eventually be eaten by an old dirty turtle? Xiaolongnu fell into despair once again. Junior sister, run quickly. I'll block the old dirty turtle for you. Long Ming struggled to get up from the ground and stood in front of Xiaolongnu. Xiaolongnu was helpless. She nodded with tears in her eyes and fled in a hurry. Chapter 191 Chapter 191 Lower Realm, Small Courtyard. Senior. Chapter 191 Lower Realm, Small Courtyard. Senior. Ancestral Dragon. What are you doing? The turtle asked curiously as he looked at Long Ming, who was blocking his way. He just wanted to invite Xiao Longnu to look at the moon with him. Why would a beauty run away? Humph, don't even think about touching my junior sister. Even if I die today, I'll stop you. As Long Ming spoke, he began to burn his blood essence. A white, angry dragon phantom slowly appeared, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. What's wrong? This time, without waiting for the turtle to act, the fat Rongrong directly slapped Long Ming unconscious, then lifted him in her hand. Go after him, the turtle said. Yes, boss. Fatty Rongrong hurriedly moved all her primeval essence, madly chasing. What? He caught up so quickly? Xiao Longnu's face was filled with shock and her face turned pale. What should we do? What should he do? Am one going to fall into the hands of the turtle? Xiao Longnu was extremely anxious. Suddenly, she seemed to see a crack appear in front of her, and traces of spiritual energy seeped out from the crack. Is that the crack that leads to the lower realm? Xiao Longnu was shocked. The world crack was usually protected by the law of lightning. What was going on? While Xiao Longnu was bewildered, Rongrong and Old Filthy Turtle caught up. Beauty, the Sea King invites you to look at the moon, the turtle said loudly while chewing on the wildflower. I don't care. Even if I have the lightning of laws, I'll die. Even if I die, I can't fall into the hands of this dirty old turtle. Xiao Longnu's expression changed. She bit her pink lips and jumped into the world rift. However, in the next moment she realized that the lightning of laws did not appear at all. She had successfully come to the lower realm from the upper realm. That's great. Xiao Longnu landed right outside of Dayang town. Why do I feel that there's the aura of a dragon expert in this town? This is great. Xiao Longnu was overjoyed and ran into Dayang town. As for Fatty Rongrong and the old dirty turtle, the two stopped in front of the crack. Boss, we just came up. Are we going back? Fatty Rongrong didn't want to go back. He found that the people of the upper realm didn't seem to be strong. Go back. How can a mere upper realm be more important than this Sea King picking up girls? The old dirty turtle said directly. Yes. Fatty Rongrong helplessly nodded, aggrieved like a 200-gene big fatty. As Xiao Longnu ran, she felt an increasingly powerful dragon aura pressure. That pressure made her tremble. However, in order to survive and not be tainted by the dirty old turtle, she could only run crazily towards the courtyard. Strange, why is there a senior from the dragon race in the lower realm? Xiao Longnu was puzzled. As she burned her blood essence and started running, she soon arrived in front of the small courtyard. Who is it? When they saw Xiao Longnu and Mo Xinggu, Xing Tianzi, Gan Tianlei and Yin Jiangyun, their faces turned cold. The woman in front of them was too powerful. It was so powerful that it made them tremble. However, when they thought about how their senior was sleeping, the four of them became determined. They looked at each other and then cast an array formation. In an instant, they turned into four afterimages and surrounded Xiao Longnu in the middle. Then, four huge pillars of light appeared. Xiao Longnu immediately felt the power around her freeze and she could no longer use it. What happened? While Xiao Longnu was bewildered, Yin Jiangyun took out the rope Xiao Changtian gave her and tied Xiao Longnu up. You guys, Xiao Longnu was extremely shocked. These mere ants from the lower realm had actually trapped her. Tell me who sent you. If you don't tell me, my fists are not to be trifled with. Gan Tianlei rolled up his sleeves and threatened. Men and women were equal to him. As long as it was a martial monarch realm expert who dared to disturb a senior's rest, he should be beaten. If you don't speak, you're asking for a beating. Gan Tianlei looked at the little dragon girl in front of him and didn't say anything. He punched out with both fists. Xiao Longnu's face fell into despair for the third time. She did not expect that she would not die in the upper realm but in the lower realm. Could it be that the heavens really want to end our dragon race? Xiao Longnu screamed helplessly in her heart. She closed her eyes and waited for death. However, at this moment, a familiar voice sounded. What are you doing? Just as Gan Tianlei was about to act, Fatty Rongrong flew back with the old dirty turtle. Senior Black Tortoise? Gan Tianlei was shocked and quickly went forward to greet him. She's the woman I like. What do you want? The turtle stared at Gan Tianlei coldly. Being stared at by the dirty old turtle, Gan Tianlei felt like he had fallen into an ice cave. I'll untie you, I'll untie you. Gan Tianlei's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He quickly removed the formation and walked to Xiao Longnu to untie her. Senior, I'm sorry. I didn't know that Senior Black Tortoise had taken a fancy to you. I'm sorry. Gan Tianlei hurriedly begged for mercy. Xiao Longnu opened her eyes and was dumbfounded. What was going on? Also, what did he just hear? Black Tortoise. Divine Beast Black Tortoise? Beauty, one only invited you to admire the moon. Do you have to go to such an extent? Fine, since you're here, you should go in and pay your respects to your dragon ancestor first. The turtle smacked his lips. Dragon ancestor? Xiao Longnu was even more stunned. What was going on? First, it was the old dirty turtle chasing after him, then it was the black tortoise, and then there was the extremely terrifying dragon aura in the small courtyard. Come in, but be light in your footsteps. In the pond, the golden arowana straightened its body and transmitted a message to Xiao Longnu. Xiao Longnu was shocked. An extremely thick dragon aura descended, causing her soul to tremble. She tiptoed into the courtyard. Senior, where are you? Xiao Longnu was looking around but did not find any real dragons. However, in the next moment, her gaze landed on the golden arowana in the pool. Roar! In her sea of consciousness, there was a giant dragon that was emitting a supreme golden light. It was soaring in the 9 heavens. Its body was unknown. Just its pair of dragon horns seemed to cover the entire universe and billions of galaxies. It was a giant dragon with extreme pressure. A single beard of the dragon was as terrifying as 10 billion planets. Ancestral dragon? Xiao Longnu knelt down in front of the vast aura. It was a terrifying true dragon that she had seen before. Even the few in the ancestral hall of the dragon clan were far inferior to the golden dragon in front of him. The golden dragon's aura seemed to be the origin of the great Tao. It allowed her to bathe in the golden light. The injuries and fatigue in her body from before completely disappeared. In fact, because of the additional wisps of golden light in her dantian, the realm that she had been unable to break through previously shattered with a crack. Her aura had risen from a low-level deity to a high-level deity. Greetings, ancestral dragon. Xiao Longnu said excitedly. Chapter 192. Fuck, what expert is this? _I. Chapter 192. Fuck, what expert is this? _I. Ancestral dragon? Ah. The golden dragon chuckled. How could a low-level existence like the ancestral dragon compare to him? However, Xiao Longnu was only his junior, so he didn't mind. You're from the immortal world. Why did you come to the lower realm? The ancestral dragon asked. Then, a wisp of golden light pierced into Xiao Longnu's divine sense. From the defeat of the clan leader Long Outyin, his disappearance, to the snake blood, to the front of the small courtyard, the golden dragon knew everything. Humph, the younger generation of the dragon clan is simply becoming more and more disappointing. He was actually bullied by the serpent clan. The golden dragon roared in anger. Its terrifying aura frightened Xiao Longnu so much that she fell to the ground and did not dare to move. Come on, stinky fish, don't scare the woman that the Sea King likes. At this moment, the green-haired turtle crawled in and neutralized the golden dragon's aura. Xiao Longnu finally felt the pressure around her relax. Just as she raised her head, she was instantly dumbfounded. She saw a huge Xuanwu phantom that was as tall as the sky. No, its body was even taller than the sky. It was not inferior to the golden dragon. The black tortoise's 4 legs were like pillars that supported the sky, and endless seawater surged around it. 2 powerful auras appeared in front of her just like that. Xian. Black tortoise. Xiao Longnu's heart trembled and she fainted. Fine, my woman fainted. I can only invite her to admire the moon tomorrow night. The old dirty turtle said helplessly. Sigh, one didn't expect my dragon clan's junior to actually decline to this extent. The golden arowana sighed, and the giant golden dragon disappeared. Long Ming and Xiao Longnu lay on the ground. As for Long Ming's injuries, they were slowly disappearing. The next day. Early morning. The first ray of sunlight shone on Xiao Changtian's face and he woke up. Comfortable. Get up and take a walk. Knowing that the great sun immortal had formed an alliance, Xiao Changtian had nothing to worry about. However, just as he put on his clothes and walked out of the room, he saw Long Ming and the little dragon fish lying on the ground. Fuck. Living or dead? Xiao Changtian's face revealed a puzzled expression. This shouldn't be the case. The 4 guards were still guarding outside the courtyard. Senior, these 2 are... It's the disaster victims from our hometown who came to seek refuge, so let me in. Gan Tianlei glanced at Black Tortoise and reported to Xiao Changtian. I see. Xiao Changtian nodded. Hearing Xiao Changtian and Xiao Longnu's voices, Long Ming and Xiao Longnu slowly woke up. Where is this place? Long Ming was unconscious last night and knew nothing about this place. However, Xiao Longnu knew very well that this was the place where the ancestral dragon resided, and there was also the black tortoise. Where are you guys from? What disaster did your hometown suffer? Why are you here in Daong town? Are you planning to join me? Xiao Changtian asked curiously when he saw the two of them wake up. Long Ming sized Xiao Changtian up. Immortal? She actually dared to talk to him like that? His hometown had suffered a disaster. The dignified dragon clan was actually humiliated like this. They could not tolerate it. Long Ming's face was filled with anger, and he was about to fly into a rage. However, all of a sudden, an extremely terrifying aura descended on his head. With a thud, he knelt down. Yes. Long Ming said. At that moment, Long Ming saw the golden dragon, and the golden dragon told him everything. Seeing this, Xiao Longnu quickly knelt down because she knew that Long Ming must have knelt down because of the ancestral dragon. As expected, just as she was guessing, the golden arowana's voice sounded in her sea of consciousness. This is my master. By following and serving my master, the dragon race will naturally obtain a good fortune. Hearing the golden dragon's heavy voice, Xiao Longnu felt as if she had been struck by lightning. The master of the ancestral dragon? Oh my god, I can't even imagine it. What kind of expert was this? Senior, our hometown was attacked by a group of bandits. Now our clansmen are in deep trouble. We have no choice but to come here. Xiao Longnu knelt on the ground and started kowtowing. When Long Ming saw this, he quickly followed suit and kowtowed. To be able to meet such an expert, it was Long Ming's blessing, his junior sister's blessing, and the fate of the entire dragon clan. So miserable. Xiao Changqian's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. The bandits attacked and the clansmen were in danger. It was not easy for these two siblings to run so far. Otherwise he wouldn't have slept in the courtyard. It must be because she was too tired. You can stay with me, but I think it's better for you to go home. Xiao Changtian continued. As more and more disciples came, his small courtyard was no longer big enough. Senior, we will die if we go back. Please take us in. Senior, the two of us can do anything. Senior, please take us in. Don't chase us away. Long Ming and Xiao Longnu knelt on the ground and begged. You've misunderstood. We're not chasing you away. We're just looking for an expert to help you eliminate the bandits. Xiao Changtian explained. Kill the bandits, exterminate. Long Ming and Xiao Longnu were stunned. Was Senior going to take action personally? You guys eat first. Cook, Xiao Changtian shouted. Divine Realm. Sunluo Immortal Continent, Wangbaking. The Black Knight sect was located here, and waves of sinister and terrifying aura floated out. Outside the sect, there were black, yellow, green, mottled, golden rings, silver rings, king cobra. Countless snakes were wandering around, and ordinary people did not dare to approach them. In the sky above the sect, a huge black serpent shadow was hovering, symbolizing the Black Knight sect. In the hall, a middle-aged man was spitting out his tongue like a silver snake. His aura was cold. It was the Black Knight sect's sect master, Shibai Emperor. All of a sudden, a soul jade plate behind him shattered and emitted a soft sound. Kacha. A wisp of his soul flew out and disappeared in an instant. Blood. Shibai Emperor opened his eyes and let out a shocked roar. In an instant, the aura around his body erupted and soared into the clouds. The entire Black Knight sect shook violently. Investigate. Find out who killed Xue. One want to avenge him personally. No matter who it is, one will kill you. Snake Emperor roared. Yes, sir. A servant at the side trembled and hurriedly passed on the order. On the other side, Monkey wandered aimlessly in the divine world alone. Filthy old turtle, ugly turtle, you're not playing with me? Monkey said in boredom until he discovered a group of monkeys squatting in front of a waterfall. He did not know what they were looking at, but it seemed that there was something behind the waterfall. Hee, let's go play with the monkeys. Chapter 193 Chapter 193 The Great Sun Immortal Ascends to Heaven. _1. Chapter 193 The Great Sun Immortal Ascends to Heaven. _1. Monkeys, what are you playing here? Monkey jumped over and asked. As the other monkey demons explained, Wukong finally understood that there was an ancient mystic realm behind the waterfall. However, it was filled with danger and none of the monkey demons dared to enter. They even declared that whoever could bring them in would be crowned icing. Sai, why does this seem a little similar to the story Master told me? Although that monkey is far inferior to me. Hee hee fun? Monkey scratched his head. Although he felt that Sun Wukong was inferior to Xiao Wukong, he felt that it was quite fun to occupy a mountain and be king. When I'm bored, 1 foot 11 inches go and tease those ants in the divine world. Isn't that great? Let's do it this way. Monkey made up his mind. He flipped over and leaped over. And on this day, a flower fruit mountain, with the same name was officially established. There were 2 sides to the story. In the courtyard, Long Ming and Xiao Longnu ate the roasted tiger meat skewers with oily mouths. What kind of food was this? How could it be so delicious? As Long Ming spoke, he grabbed another 10 skewers and stuffed them into his mouth. Xiao Longnu thanked him as she ate. Oh, seniors is too delicious. Xiao Changtian had already contacted the Great Sun Immortal and asked him to send a few disciples over. They were just bandits and they were no match for the disciples of the Great Sun Immortal. Besides, tomorrow was the great battle with the 4 symbol regions. Of course, he could not trouble the Great Sun Immortal for such a small matter. However, in a short while, the Great Sun Immortal arrived personally. You were looking for me? The Great Sun Immortal asked respectfully. Taoist Master Daong, why did you come here personally? It's just to deal with a few bandits. Just send a random disciple. Xiao Changtian asked curiously when he saw the Great Sun Immortal. It's fine. One just happened to have nothing to do. The Great Sun Immortal smiled awkwardly. Don't you have to prepare for a big battle tomorrow? Xiao Changtian asked again. The preparations for the great battle are complete. The Great Sun Immortal replied. Senior had even sent his own disciple on stage, and Senior had even personally held the fort. They only needed to discuss how to put on an act. I see. Xiao Changtian nodded. He was originally worried about the battle tomorrow, but when the Great Sun Immortal talked about this matter, he was extremely calm and seemed to not care at all. He instantly understood. It must be that the strength of the Great Sun Immortal was enough to wipe out those great emperors. The Great Sun Immortal is awesome. Xiao Changtian couldn't help but praise the Great Sun Immortal in his heart. Then 1 foot 11 inches have to trouble you to make a trip. These 2 people's tribes are being bullied by bandits. Please help them deal with those bandits. Xiao Changtian smiled. With the help of the Great Sun Immortal, it was as easy as killing chickens to deal with these bandits. Yes, sir. The Great Sun Immortal nodded. Long Ming, Xiao Longnu, the 2 of you should bring Taoist Big Sun over. Xiao Changtian said after seeing the 2 of them finish eating. Senior, those bandits are very strong. Long Ming did not know what to say. He felt that he could crush the Great Sun Immortal in front of him with 1 finger, but he couldn't reject the senior's request, right? Don't worry, Immortal Daong is stronger than those bandits. Xiao Changtian smiled. But Long Ming wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Xiao Longnu. Senior brother, Senior must have a deeper meaning. We will just listen to Senior's arrangements. Xiao Longnu transmitted her quintessential essence to Long Ming. Is that so? Long Ming had a puzzled look on his face. However, as the master of the ancestral dragon, Senior was a supreme existence. How could he not listen to Senior? Then 1 foot 11 inches have to trouble Senior. Long Ming looked at perfected Great Sun with a suspicious expression. He felt that it was very difficult for this person in front of him to ascend to the divine world. No trouble at all. The Great Sun Immortal said with a smile. Very quickly. The 3 of them left the courtyard and came to the crack that the child had dug out. Where are we going? The Great Sun Immortal looked at the crack in the void and revealed a puzzled expression. Senior, we come from the divine realm, so we need to go to the divine realm now. Xiao Longnu replied indifferently and instantly transformed into a huge white dragon. Senior, please come up. 1 foot 11 inches bring you to the divine realm. The little dragon said. This? The immortal De Yang was stunned for a moment. Senior was actually asking him to ascend to the heavens. *CK. The divine realm was something that could only be reached by ascending. But now he could directly go up? The bandits that Senior had asked him to deal with were experts from the divine realm. Taoist Big Sun swallowed his saliva, but since it was a Senior's request, he definitely couldn't back down. He subconsciously used his spiritual will to communicate with the Nanming Ignis painting in his ring. After discovering that the Nanming Ignis painting was still in the ring, the immortal De Yang became more confident. Roar! After saying that, Long Ming turned into a huge white dragon. The two dragons flew together towards the crack in the void and entered the divine world again. At the same time, White Dragon Clan. At this moment they were under the intense attack of the Black Door. Countless snakes were like a tide, charging towards the White Dragon Clan. In the air, two experts were fighting. Bang! As the two of them fought, countless cracks appeared in the sky, and the entire ground trembled. The surrounding areas cracked and exploded into countless fragments. Logan, where is your White Dragon Clan's holy maiden? Hand it over, I want revenge for me blood too. Black Knight sect's leader Shibai Emperor roared in anger. His body carried a terrifying aura, and a huge black python appeared behind him, as if it could devour the surrounding mountain range. In fact, his body was much bigger than the White Dragon Clan's deputy patriarch, Logan. How can you hand over the holy maiden of my White Dragon Clan just because you want her to? Dragon Wave said angrily. The White Dragon Clan had been suppressed by the Serpent Clan for quite some time, yet they actually came knocking on their door this time. The Dragon Wave was the first to disagree. You're courting death. Hearing this, Shibai Emperor was furious. The huge black python behind him directly bit down on Logan. Boom. Logan's White Dragon Soul clone still wanted to block, but in terms of cultivation realm, it was one level lower than Shibai Emperor. In an instant it was sent flying. Vice Clan Leader. Damn it. The Black Knight sect is going too far. It's not a loss to kill one member of the White Dragon Clan, but it's a profit to kill two. When the White Dragon race saw that their leader, Logan, was seriously injured, their eyes widened. When had their White Dragon race ever suffered such humiliation? They were the dignified Dragon Clan, but now they were going to be exterminated by the Jiao Python Clan. Do you agree? No. Countless White Dragon Clansmen roared in unison. Their voices shook the heavens as countless dragon shadows appeared in the void. Chapter 194 Chapter 194 Ancestor Help _I Chapter 194 Ancestor Help _I Kill them. Furious roars sounded one after another, deafening the deaf and shocking the heavens and earth. The terrifying sound wave caused the small snakes crawling on the ground to explode, turning into a bloody mist. Black Knight sect kill? Shibai Emperor snorted coldly. As a flood dragon, its bloodline was lower than the dragon race. The flood dragon had to undergo the transformation lightning tribulation before it could become a true dragon. However, now that the Dragon Clan had fallen, it was a good opportunity to destroy the White Dragon Clan and snatch the opportunity. Countless White Dragon phantoms circled in the air. On the ground, countless Tingjiao phantoms also rushed into the sky. Blood splattered in the sky from this battle. Corpses were strewn all over the White Dragon Clan. There were corpses of White Dragons and Black Knight sect cultivators. Kill them. The deputy patriarch, Logan, who had been sent flying, also got up from the ground. Since this was a life-and-death battle for the White Dragon Clan, he could not care less. He burned his blood essence and trembled with Shibai Emperor. Time passed by. The entire White Dragon Clan had turned into a sea of blood. The sea of blood flowed and emitted a bloody smell. Everyone who had fought to the point of madness had completely forgotten about themselves. However, the difference in strength caused the White Dragon Clan to be like reeds in front of the Black Knight sect cultivators, easily snapped. Damn it. I hate it. Many White Dragon Clan cultivators were covered in wounds of all sizes and their white clothes were stained with blood. They were thrown onto the square in front of them by the cultivators of Black Knight sect. Shibai Emperor stepped on Logan's head and stomped him under his feet. Where did Xiaolongnu go? Tell me honestly, or I'll kill all of your White Dragon Clan. Shibai Emperor's expression was ferocious. After Snake Blood was killed, he had already lost his mind and fell into madness. According to the news, Snake Blood spent his last days with Xiaolongnu of the Dragon Clan. In your dreams? I Logan really hate you. Back then the clan leader gave you so much kindness that you became what you are today, but you repaid kindness with ingratitude. Despicable. Despicable. Shameless. Logan cursed angrily. Old thing, do you want to die? Snake Emperor stepped on Logan's head even harder. Tell me, or I'll kill 100 of your white dragon clansmen every 15 minutes. Shi Baihuang waved his hand and pulled out 100 white dragon clan cultivators. Behind him, the Black Knight sect cultivator's serpent soul clone was waiting coldly, as if it could devour the white dragon clan cultivator at any time. Logan was furious, but there was nothing he could do. Deputy Patriarch, don't say it. If we die, we'll only be insignificant to the dragon clan. The Holy Maiden is the hope of our white dragon clan. That's right. The future of the white dragon clan lies in the Saintess. If we die, so be it. The white dragon clan will never be threatened. Even though the white dragon clan cultivators were only a little bit away from death, they were all hot-blooded and furious. None of them surrendered. None of them were afraid at this moment. The dragon clan heard the shouts of the white dragon clan behind them. Even though they were stepped on by Shibai Emperor, they still let out hearty laughter. Haha, my white dragon clan is all good. There's not a single coward. Logan laughed loudly, his face filled with joy. Even though his white dragon race had declined, his dignity as a dragon was still there. Attack. Hearing Logan's laughter, Shibai Emperor's gaze turned cold. With a wave of his hand, hundreds of phantom flood pythons rushed towards the 100 white dragon clan cultivators and devoured them. Stop. Suddenly, a dragon's roar sounded. In the sky, 2 huge white dragons floated and instantly descended. Holy Maiden, why are you back? The white dragon clan cultivator was shocked. If he returned now, he would definitely die. Xiaolong knew, why are you back? Hurry up and leave. Logan's laughter stopped abruptly. Xiaolongnu was born with the white dragon divine body. The purest white dragon bloodline flowed in her body. She was the hope of the entire white dragon race. Vice clan leader, don't worry. I found an expert senior. He will help us. Xiaolongnu explained as she looked at Taoist Big Sunday. The great sun immortal looked at the phantoms in front of him. They were incomparably terrifying. His body could not help but tremble. There was nothing he could do. He was only a Saint King. In front of these deities of the divine realm, just their aura alone was enough to make him feel fear. Him? Haha, this is simply the biggest joke that I, Snake Emperor, have heard this year. Shibai Emperor sneered and stared at the great sun immortal with disdain. A mere Saint King realm, an ant from the lower realm. How could he help the white dragon clan? Unless there was a miracle. Xiaolongnu, let's go. A mere Saint King from the lower realm can't help our white dragon clan. Long Ming, quickly take your junior sister and leave. Longbow roared. However, Shibai Emperor sent him flying with a kick, and the huge serpent phantom behind him pounced at Xiaolongnu. The flood serpent's eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. Not good. It's over. Once the Holy Maiden dies, our white dragon clan will definitely be destroyed. Sigh, the heavens want to destroy our white dragon clan. All the white dragon clansmen present were in complete despair. Even the deputy chief, Logan, was no match for the Snake Emperor. With Xiaolongnu, the 2 of them, and a Saint King, there was no chance of survival. You should have obediently become my son's plaything, but you actually dared to kill him. Then prepare to die. Shibai Emperor said coldly. The black Jiao python opened its huge mouth and released waves of green poisonous gas. At the same time, its cold teeth revealed killing intent. Senior, please attack. Xiaolongnu cupped her fists respectfully and looked at Taoist Big Sunday. Oh, all right. The great sun immortal nodded. It's already come to this, yet you still want to put on an act. You're courting death. Shibai Emperor sneered. The huge black serpent phantom had already arrived in front of the 3 of them, only a foot away. Compared to the huge body of the black Jiao python, a distance of 1 foot was equivalent to nothing. It's over. Logan closed his eyes in despair. There was really nothing he could do. However, just as everyone thought that the black serpent was going to devour the 3 of them, the great sun immortal took out the scroll from his ring and opened it. Whoosh! Instantly, an endless fire domain spread out and flames whistled. Roar! Endless flames wrapped around the black serpent's body, making crackling sounds. What? Shibai Emperor was greatly alarmed. He felt an extremely terrifying flame aura directly pierce into his sea of consciousness, burning his divine essence. Ah! Ancestor, save me. Shibai Emperor felt the threat of death and shouted in panic. Chapter 195 Chapter 195. The Great Battle Begins. Chapter 195. The Great Battle Begins. Ancestor, save me. Snake Emperor's voice pierced through gold and cracked stone as he shouted in the direction of Black Knight's sect. Then a huge black handprint appeared in the void. The huge black handprint enveloped the burning flames, wanting to use its huge power to completely extinguish the flames. However, the flames attached themselves to the black hand. What? A cry of alarm came from the void. Then the space rippled like a ripple. In the next moment, an old man with white hair appeared. His face was filled with fear. That was because the flames were burning on his body and could not be extinguished. Ancestor. When Shibai Emperor saw this scene, his face was filled with shock. Even the old ancestor had no way to resist this kind of flame. Just as he was in shock, the Black Knight sect's ancestor in the sky was directly burned into ashes by the flames and dissipated in space. Then Shibai Emperor exploded in space. Ancestor, sect master. The Black Knight sect cultivators were shocked. Their ancestor and sect master were gone just like that? Run. The remaining cultivators were not fools. When they saw their ancestor and sect master being killed, they cried out in alarm and fled. However, the endless burning hell turned into countless fire spots and spread out in the space before them, shooting towards the Black Knight sect cultivators. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The countless flames turned into a rain of fire, and the Black Knight sect cultivators had no way of escaping. Ah! Countless miserable screams rang out as the Black Knight sect cultivators who had originally returned to their original forms were charred into roasted snakes. It emitted a stench. Poo-pew-pew. Only the sound of flames dancing could be heard between heaven and earth. Countless White Dragon clansmen were dumbfounded and stunned on the spot. After a long while, the voice of the dragon finally rang out. The vice-patriarch of the White Dragon clan pays his respects to Senior. As Logan's voice rang out, everyone in the White Dragon clan looked at Taoist Big Sunday. Greetings, Senior. The next day, everything within the White Dragon clan had been repaired. As for the bodies of the Black Knight sect cultivators, they were buried with them. This was the cruelty of the cultivation world. No one knew which would come first, accident or tomorrow. Senior, I was blind before. Please forgive me. Logan smiled awkwardly and apologized to the Great Sun Immortal. There's no need. I'm just relying on the divine item that Senior gave me. The Great Sun Immortal said with a face full of shame. The person in front of him could kill him with a slap, but he still called him Senior. This made him not know how to talk to him. Then he remembered that it was already the day of the battle between the Five Powers Alliance and the Four Symbol Regions. He hurriedly said, I still have something important to do, so 1 foot 11 inches leave first. Logan saw that he couldn't persuade her to stay, so he immediately gave Xiaolongnu a look. Xiaolongnu nodded and transformed back into her white dragon form. Senior, please come up. I'll send you back. The Great Sun Immortal nodded and leaped onto the white dragon's back. Soon, the man and the dragon arrived at the spatial rift. However, to their surprise, the spatial rift in front of them suddenly disappeared. What's going on? Taoist Big Sun and Little Dragon were stunned. The spatial rift from before had completely disappeared. He was still fine when he came. The Great Sun Immortal was confused. The great battle was definitely about to begin. He couldn't go back. Tianyuan continent. The war between the Five-Party Alliance and the Four Symbols region was about to break out, but the Great Sun Immortal didn't rush over. Xiao Changtian was stunned. If the Great Sun Immortal wasn't here, then what was the point of hammering? Is it too late for us to retreat now? Xiao Changtian looked at Perfected Qing Yun in confusion. Senior, why are we retreating? Perfected Qing Yun asked in confusion. Taoist Big Sun didn't come. With just the few of us, how could we be a match for those great emperors? To tell you the truth, the immortal De Yang is a peerless expert who hides in the mortal world. Without him, we would not have been able to fight this battle. We would have lost without a doubt. Xiao Changtian said helplessly. Perfected Qing Yun was stunned. Senior, aren't we invincible here? Which one of your disciples isn't stronger than an ancient emperor? However, Perfected Qing Yun did not say it out loud. He thought for a moment and said in another way, Senior, although Reverend De Yang didn't come, Reverend Qi Yang did. Perfected Qi Yang is the Great Sun sect's old ancestor. I'm afraid that his true cultivation is far above that of perfected De Yang. Why don't we just let him be the temporary alliance leader? Xiao Changqian's eyes lit up. That makes sense. Reverend Shi Yang was the great Sun sect's ancestor, and he had only met him once. Even though he had gone to the great Sun sect several times, he basically could not see Reverend Shi Yang's figure. Usually, such a master would not like to be disturbed. He did not expect that there were actually two peerless experts by his side. Thinking of this, Xiao Changda's worried heart finally relaxed. Quickly go and invite Reverend Shi Yang, Xiao Changtian said to Perfected Qin Yun. Yes. After Perfected Qin Yun finished speaking, he hurriedly ran far away to look for Perfected Qi Yang. I can't. Don't do this. Reverend Qi Yang hurriedly refused. His current cultivation was only at the first level of the Tribulation Transcendence realm. In front of these big shots he was nothing. How could he dare to act as a hidden expert? Reverend Qi Yang, you're just putting on an act for Senior. Senior has returned to his original state and has already reached a state of selflessness. You're just putting on an act. Perfected Qin Yun persuaded. No, I can't do it. If Senior finds out one day, won't I be dead for sure? Reverend Qi Yang hurriedly refused and took a few steps back. It's not up to you. If you don't become a hidden expert, how are we going to beat up the great emperor today? Perfected Qin Yun saw that the battle was about to break out, so he grabbed Reverend Qi Yang and brought him to Xiao Changtian. Reverend Qi Yang, you're here. That's great. Quickly lead everyone, I'll beat the drums to cheer for you. Xiao Changtian smiled. Now that Reverend Qi Yang is here, everyone has a chance to win again. He had to support it. Yes. However, facing Xiao Changtian, Qi Yang Jinren couldn't refuse. How could he refuse such a master? Everyone listen to my order and prepare to attack. Reverend Qi Yang could only bite the bullet and give the order. On the huge sea surface, the waves were rolling and the sound of waves could be heard. The sea breeze blew past and the atmosphere was somber. Under the Heaven Queen's command, the ancient emperors also began to circulate their true qi. Kill them. Chapter 196 Chapter 196 The Seven Children on a Vine of Concealment. Chapter 196 The Seven Children on a Vine of Concealment. Rumble. When the cultivators fought, their true essence exploded in the space. Countless true essence lights shot into the sky. The terrifying power seemed to be able to move mountains and seas. How terrifying. Fortunately, I hid behind Reverend Qi Yang. Xiao Changtian muttered. He saw a powerful warrior. With just a glance at the sea, a fat fish was suddenly blown up and turned into a bloody mist. It was hard for him to imagine that with his level 3 body, if he was hit, wouldn't he be reduced to pieces? Thinking of this, Xiao Changtian could not help but feel a chill down his spine. In order to ease his embarrassment, Xiao Changtian felt that he had to pull himself together and cheer for the crowd. You two pay attention to your safety. Don't run around. Xiao Changtian reminded Chu Yiren and Lin Ruomiao, who were beside him. Yes. The two girls nodded. Xiao Changtian picked up the drumsticks and started to drum for the audience. Clang, clang, clang. The loud sound of ribs echoed across the sea and the battlefield. My power hasn't regressed, hee. Xiao Changtian beat the drum and gradually entered a good state. He found his own feeling. On the surface of the sea. Initially, everyone was suppressed by the great emperors. Perfected Qing Yun and Lian Shenin fought against a great emperor and were sent flying in an instant. Two noobs, you still dare to start a war with me? I'll beat the sh*t out of you too. Haha. The blue-haired emperor who had sent the two of them flying laughed maniacally. His face was filled with joy. To emperors, a 9th-level Tribulation Transcendence cultivator was trash. Elsewhere, Maniac Chu and his armored rhinoceros clashed with a demon emperor. However, the monster emperor was an elephant. The monster race the arch transformed and sent the two of them flying with a slap of his nose. Such a scene happened in every corner of the sea. Even Taoist Xingyun and monk Kong Xiang had fought to a draw against a great emperor. However, to them 2 against 1 could only tie. The other party was not an idiot. In an instant, another great emperor joined in and the two of them were sent flying. The situation on the battlefield was one-sided. It was Zhang Daolin who took out the gourd that Xiao Changtian had given him. The gourd appeared and floated in the sky. A black vine spread out from the gourd. As the vines grew out, red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue and purple, a 7-colored gourd suddenly grew out. Those gourds began to crack, and children in vests fell out of the 7-colored gourds one by one. The red gourd transformed into a hill and blocked all the attacks. The other gourds stood on the shoulder of the big gourd. They were either attacking with flames or attacking with boundless waves. They also appeared from behind. All. The demon emperor who had sent Maniac Chu and the armored rhinoceros flying was kicked away from behind by Sixth Baby. Are you going to beat the sh*t out of me? The child in the yellow vest had already appeared behind the blue-haired emperor. Bang! Yellow boy kicked the great emperor's kidney, and the great emperor's face turned purple. Green baby and blue baby stood on Chi baby's shoulders. One spat out boundless flames while the other shot out ice rain arrows. Left. Right. Orange baby stood on top of Chi baby's head, looking around and listening in all directions. Fuck, what the hell is this? That powerful? Brother Daolin, what is this? It was actually such a powerful treasure. How rare. Awesome. Can you give me one? Brother Daolin, one like you back then. Look at this gourd of yours. It's big and round like it's your treasure. Can you share it with me tonight? All the experts looked at the gourd in Zhang Daolin's hand enviously. It was too awesome. With this gourd in hand he could fight against thousands of soldiers. Cough cough, it's just a small item that Senior gave me. It's just a Zhang Daolin said with a smile. A gift from Senior? When the others heard this, their eyes lit up. In the East Victory continent, Senior had once given them a painting. Can those paintings be used? A sect leader said. That's right. Why didn't we think of that? Since the item that Senior gave us can help us break through, it must have the same effect. As he spoke, the sect leader took out the solitary cold river fishing map that Xiao Changtian had given him. As soon as the painting appeared, the entire sea turned white. On a boat, an old man in a straw hat was sitting quietly with a fishing rod in his hand. Suddenly, the old man opened his eyes and laughed. The fish has taken the bait. With that, he swung the fishing rod in his hand, and the fishing line turned into sword shadows that filled the sky. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Streaks of sword chi filled the entire space. Dozens of great emperors who could not dodge in time were directly splattered with blood and flesh under the sword chi, and they were heavily injured. Fuck, that's so fun. I'll come too. The experts who were passing the tribulation took out the paintings that Xiao Changtian had given them. In an instant, all kinds of strange phenomena appeared in the entire space. A carefree sword immortal who could kill a person every 10 steps, a brilliant white jade city that suppressed everything, and a beautiful dancer walked out. It was called light pollution. The perspective was so blurry that even the author could not see clearly and the readers could only imagine it themselves. Those great emperors could only retreat in front of these phenomena. Tang Richin felt his heart itch. The senior gave him an aphrodisiac pill, but did not give him a painting. After the battle, he must ask the senior for a painting. The battle was still going on. The slaughter shook the sky, but only Xiao Changtian's side could be heard. It seems that my drums are beating very well, boosting morale. Xiao Changtian nodded in satisfaction. The music skill that was enhanced by the system was indeed good. Xiao Changtian didn't even turn his head back and knocked even harder. Clang, clang. The melodious and heavy drum beats resounded across the entire sea. The melody melded with the sounds of battle on the battlefield. It was as if golden spears and iron horses had appeared in everyone's minds, and their blood surged. Even the lightning evasion realm in his dantian seemed to be torn apart by his hot blood. In an instant, countless ninth-level tribulation transcenders sat down in the void. The moment they sat down cross-legged, the dark clouds in the sky churned and thunder rumbled. Hundreds of lightning bolts turned into a sea of lightning and fell down in an uncountable number, as if they wanted to kill all of them. Xiao Longnu only felt the pressure on her decrease when she sensed the disappearance of Monkey's aura. She began to breathe freely again. In that instant, Xiao Longnu felt as if she was on the verge of death tens of thousands of times. Her clothes were drenched in cold sweat. "All right, all of you, step aside," Monkey said impatiently as he took out the silver needle from his ear again. Then he caressed the silver needle. The silver needle seemed to have a reaction. It grew bigger, longer, and thicker. "Stab it in." Monkey said to the big stick and stabbed it towards the void of the lower realm. Bang! In an instant, it pierced open the world rift in the lower realm. Boom! As the laws were restored, the lightning of heavenly tribulation appeared again. You dare to block this, Monkey King? Monkey said disdainfully. With a slap he sent those laws flying. Let's go back. Monkey directly brought along Taoist De Yang and instantly flew into the lower realm. If you meet Master later, tell him that you like raising monkeys, so you brought me out. Do you hear me? Monkey had an idea and said to Taoist Big Sunday. Yes, yes, yes. The great Sun Immortal hurriedly nodded. At least you're sensible. When we go back, 1 foot 11 inches give you a few strands of my hair. One guarantee that you'll be able to tide over any crisis you encounter. Monkey vowed. The two of them quickly flew up to the surface of the sea. On the ruins of the Yuanyang Grand Hall, the Yuanyang Divine Lord, who was in seclusion, was completely furious. His Grand Hall was destroyed by a group of monkeys. This was really preposterous. These damn monkeys, do you really think I'm a sick cat if I don't show my power? Divine Lord Yuanyang was furious. Although he was born from the tiger race and had transformed into a human, the bloodline talent of the tiger race made him incomparably powerful. In the entire Sanluo Immortal continent, he had few opponents. You, go and destroy that group of monkeys. Capture the leading monkey alive. Want to roast him into jerky. No, I want to make it into meat mushrooms. Divine Lord Yuanyang said coldly, his killing intent overflowing. A servant beside him could not help but tremble. Yes, sir. He hurriedly flew out and immediately headed for Flower Fruit Mountain. Demonic beast die. As expected of the number one subordinate of the original Yang God Lord. The appearance of the heaven-flipping seal instantly enveloped the entire Flower Fruit Mountain. At the foot of the Flower Fruit Mountain, the red-tail monkey was the first to recognize this person. Not good, he is the number one general under Yuanyang Divine Lord, Li Wushuang. We are not opponents. Under the heaven-flipping seal, some demons died directly and turned into a bloody mist that exploded in space. Advisor June, quickly think of a way. The Monkey King isn't here, so we can't beat him. Six-eared Macaque scratched his head anxiously. We can only go and find the Monkey King now. Only he can save us. The red-tail-bottomed monkey's face revealed an anxious expression. This was the only solution he could think of at the moment. One thing I've heard the Monkey King say that he's on the Tianyuan continent. He flew in that direction when he left. Six-eared Macaque said. Let's go. The red-tail-bottomed monkey immediately brought the monkey clan along and started running. On the other side, the skull-masked man saw that it was about time. The experts on Xiao Changqian's side had all been knocked down by the sponge. It was time to summon the skeleton god to the lower realm. Oh, you can go down now? The skeleton god's voice sounded. That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.